Lin Zaiyasu exited the secret realm space, poured a cup of tea, and sat by the window for a long time without moving. In the darkness, his eyes were constantly flickering, but no one knew what he was thinking. Until late at night, he finally went to bed and slept. In the early morning of the next day, the red sun rose high. This round of red sun seems to have gained some warmth. It was already early April, the transition between spring and summer with clear weather. Far out at sea, the sea breeze had also become somewhat gentle. Base 101, halfway up the mountain. Changyi's small courtyard, a few flowers had bloomed again. Changyi sat on the swing, letting the spring breeze from the sea brush against her cheeks, blowing away the fatigue from the previous night. During this time, she spent long hours in the laboratory. It was almost as if she were working desperately. Why such desperation? A faint sense of sadness passed through her heart. Time is like a wheel. Every time it rolls past, it always takes something away. Rolling over the sea, it takes away the waves. Rolling over the sky, it takes away the floating clouds. Rolling over the slopes, it brings the blooms, but also takes away the withering. And when it rolls over the world, what will it take away? Perhaps the marks of life. For instance, her. Not much time is left. She cannot predict how much longer her life will last, but she can roughly estimate a range. More than half a year, less than 8 months. 27 years in this world. But she seems to have walked a path that would take others a few lifetimes to walk. In her childhood, she was abandoned in an orphanage. Originally, it was a disastrous start, but an umbrella opened over her head, bringing her into Qianlong, and from then on her life was extraordinary. Her extraordinary life resounded on the strange realm battlefield. Enemies changed color at the name, Poison Demon. As a poison man, she was supposed to be lonely for life, but at Qianlong she was clearly not alone. She had girlfriends such as the forever unreliable Xinyu. She had care, like the blue demon exchanging king points for her clothes. She had affection like her godfather. She also had a lover. This is what made her most gratified. Xinyu asserted she would never experience the taste of romance in her life, yet she experienced it. That night in Jiangcheng Hotel was an irreproducible moment in her life, but just thinking about it made her feel her life was worth it. Thinking of this, Changai's face blossomed with the spring feeling and the cool spring breeze. But as the spring breeze swept by, it also left some sadness. In half a year, at most 8 months, I will be gone. Husband, will you miss me? The word husband only existed in her private contact list. She had never spoken it aloud. But it did not affect her fixing these 2 words long in her heart. Suddenly, a human figure flipped up from below. A flip landed in front of her. It was Xinyu. Xinyu's hair was messy, her chest was heaving, and her passion was excited. Lin Xiaomeng, bastard. He infuriates me. With an outstretched hand, she gulped down a cup of tea from Changyi's table. Changyi's eyes widened. What's gotten into you? How did he provoke you? Sister Changyi, you wouldn't know, that little C is too excessive. Let me tell you, even if I acknowledge you as a sister, I resolutely refuse to acknowledge this idiotic brother-in-law. I'm telling you frankly from now on, Lin Xiaos ranks first on my hate list, and no one can change that. Oh my God, what happened? Can you just tell me? Xinyu jumped up, came to the swing frame in front of Changyi, bent over. All right, I'll tell you. We just received news that Lin Wangba helped his childhood friend Li Diandian, took down Utopia headquarters in Jiangcheng, even arrested the chairman. The swing beneath Changyi abruptly stopped, even arrested the chairman. Yes, that's indeed exhilarating. Exhilarating? What's so exhilarating about it? Xinyu shouted. Why can't you grasp the focus of what's being said? The focus is that he helped his childhood friend Li Diandian to accomplish this. Changyi's gaze flickered, as if she understood. Xinyu said, it was so hard for me to emerge as a dark horse, taking top spot in trial king points, and saw the 49th gold medal beckoning me. Then this little brat jumped out sideways, my 49th, is going to turn into wilted food. Changyi laughed, nearly falling off the swing with laughter. Xinyu gnashed her teeth. It's all because of this damned bastard. I've always felt he's my doom. In my past life I must have been a rapist, violating his wife. The bastard is tormenting me this way. I must go find him. If he doesn't arrange something explosive to suppress Li Diandian from now on, wanting to climb into your bed, there's no way. Changyi laughed so hard her stomach hurt. She clutched her belly, starting to do political thought work. Xinyu, you're also a Qianlong gold medal holder. You have to at least talk some sense, right? He just helped you earlier, didn't he? Why didn't you curse him as a doom when he helped you? Calling him brother-in-law was so smooth. Turning your back can't be like flipping a book, right? Discovering worldly sins, reporting to Qianlong itself is a very righteous thing, but you insist on interpreting it from a personal angle. Even if it's personal, you can't demand that he speaks personally for only you. Who are you to him? Did he eat your rice, or does he owe you money? Xinyu understood a bit, but she wasn't satisfied. He climbed into your bed and you are my sister. From an emotional and moral standpoint, I am his sister-in-law. So what is this Li Dayandian counted as? I'm actually angry not only because my own 49th turned into wilted food, but crucially I'm unfair on your behalf. Don't you hear it? He's pleasing the mistress. Oh my God. Chang Yi held her forehead. Don't say it so bluntly, can you? They were standard childhood friends. Xinyu was stunned. Sister Chang Yi, you wouldn't want to compromise, would you? You can't. Knocking down mistresses is every citizen's duty. Chang Yi moved her hand from her forehead to hold her face. Knock down mistresses? Who is the mistress? They grew up together, bare-bottomed. Where was I at that time? Childhood friends you say are mistresses, then me temporarily paying a visit. Counts as what? Why do I feel more like the mistress? Do you want to knock her down or me? Of course, these messy thoughts are not suitable for expression in words. Chang Yi sighed, earnestly doing her work. Currently in the top 100 vacancies, there just happen to be two. One is 49, one is 95, both in the top 100, seldom better, rarely worse. She takes 49, you take 95, what's the problem? Why must you cause a ruckus? Xinyu thought of it too, but she didn't soften her stance. I mainly care about you. If I give up in front of her, doesn't that help boost Lin Xiao's arrogance? If he pins Li Dayandian on the bed, where can you put your face? Hey, I suddenly thought of something. What? Isn't the Middle East in turmoil? How about we take a trip to the Middle East together? Xinyu said. I want to show Lin Xiao's through real action that I can suppress Li Dayandian without his help. Chang Yi was startled. The situation in the Middle East is very subtle currently. Even the heavenly kings have to consider which of them can take such a responsibility. How could you and I venture into it? I'm warning you, don't be too arrogant. Isn't there a person who's born a troublemaker? Doesn't they become more active as the situation gets chaotic? Sister Chang Yi, you take the initiative to offer battle entry to the Middle East. Let's see if that little seed dares not to go. This brilliant strategy is called baiting the enemy. Chang Yi gave her a sideways glance. Didn't you just say? You don't need his help. Turning around, you're plotting his ideas, truly exemplifying flipping faces like flipping books. Besides, what does baiting the enemy mean? That should be luring the snake out of the hole. You're asked to study, you date, asked to practice skills, you practice lip service, truly a handful. You think my education level is that low? Used on enemies, it's called out of the hole. Used on you with him, it's called into the hole. You dare say he doesn't want to get into your hole. Chang Yi directly stood up, entered the laboratory, resolutely refused to discuss such shameless topics. Chapter 340. Chapter 340. A small goal of 100 million. Lin Xiaosu slept until the afternoon. Life has to have its ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's day and night work. Sometimes you just lay back, relax like you're dying. Coming to Jiangcheng the day before yesterday in a day and night, Utopia's 5 second-level bosses, one chairman got turned into wilted vegetables, and the reward, unsurprisingly, is in the millions again. Just 2 months into the year, while some people are still bitterly wondering where to go for work this year, I had already made 10 years' worth of money, so why shouldn't I slack off? Why shouldn't I indulge? Lin Xiaosu picked up the phone and called Ding Ryushui. Hi, I'm in Jiangcheng now. Bring your 8-digit pocket money, hop in your little car and come get me. Ding Ryushui was enjoying the warm afternoon, chatting with her warm mom, discussing warm topics on the warm rooftop. Suddenly receiving this call, suddenly hearing words on the phone that made her unsure whether to laugh or cry, she jumped up. Planning to run away again. Her mom furrowed her brows angrily. Sit down, listen seriously. I'm just getting to the second chapter, third section, 7th key point of a woman should build a home. Ding Ryushui nodded and replied into the phone. Lin Xiaosu, what do you mean? Asking me to bring 8-digit pocket money? Dream on. How do I have 8 digits? Want me to come out and pay for your lavish spending? No way, I'm broke. Not going. Stay where it's cool for you. After speaking, she hung up the phone, sat down, looked up and blinked her eyes. Mom, you continue, I'll listen. Her mom's mouth half opened, her expression splendid. Little Sue. Yeah, he wants me to go pick him up, dreaming much. Do I pamper him? Hurry up and go. Her mom stood up. Why go? You don't know he comes to Jiangcheng without any money. Every time I'm the one paying. Do I owe him or what? And my poor pocket money can't even sustain myself. Where's the spare money for him to spend? Ding Ryushui said. Mom, let's not pamper his bad habits. Quickly get out. Stop playing tricks with your old mom. Your mom had settled your dad long before you. Her mom's finger pointed straight to the door, shaking 3 times before compromising. Fine, fine, I'll wire you 10 million. Delay 1 minute, I'll deduct 1 million. With those last 10 words released, Deng Ruoshui disappeared. Not even 30 seconds later, she was in the car, and before the car was 10 miles out of the villa, Ding. 10 million arrived. When Ding Ryushui picked up Lin Zaiasu at the hotel door, she was laughing heartily. What's up, why so happy? Lin Zaiasu was curious. I found a money-making way, Ding Ryushui replied. In the future, let's cause some conflicts occasionally. Let my mom pay to resolve them. Non-stop conflicts, non-stop money, account balance millions. Oh my whole life I've been using people as props. Is it my turn now to become your money-making prop? The car drove towards the Nanhu villa. Ding Ryushui glanced at him. It's still 10 days till April 15. You came so early, missing me. April 15, the Yancheng Jewelry Expo. When they left Kunkang, they had agreed and tickets were bought. But today was only April 3, still 11 days to the expo. Relatively speaking, I might miss your girlfriend more. That's great, we happen to have plans to meet tomorrow. Ding Ryushui said, if you miss her, you can come along. I imagine that scene, somehow it makes me a bit inexplicably excited. Excited? Yeah, her boyfriend is coming tomorrow too. Personally, I feel you're a bit too inflated. You need a little setback to recognize yourself. Lin Zaiasu frowned. You think her boyfriend could give me a setback? In some aspects, maybe he can. Some aspects, specifically which aspects? For example, compared to fathers, you probably can't beat him. Lin Zaiasu rolled his eyes and gave her 6 ellipses. Competing fathers. Am I someone who competes based on fathers? Oh no. Is my dad someone suitable for competing with? For example, spending speed and lavishness, you probably can't beat him either. For example, fame, you probably still can't beat him. Lin Zaiasu did not respond to this with silence. Who is he? Xia Tian. The Xia Tian of One Little Goal. Look, as soon as I mention Xia Tian, you immediately know the One Little Goal meme. Doesn't that indicate his fame far surpasses yours? I suppose so. After all, in modern society, those who can create popular memes aren't ordinary people. Lin Zaiasu conceded. Xia Tian, creator of the popular One Little Goal meme. What is One Little Goal about? 100 million. Legend says Xia Tian's dad, with ample money and valuing his children's success, had high hopes for Xia Tian to achieve something in the business field, so he posed a challenge. First, achieve 1 little goal. In half a year, Xia Tian successfully achieved the little goal. The company he founded had a market value of over 100 million. If described using a simplified narrative, this is a template for an inspiring story of a business heir. Achieving an asset of over 100 million in just half a year, can an average person even imagine? However, if analyzed with a detailed template, this story becomes quite skewed. Xia Tian's dad provided him with 500 million as startup capital for achieving his little goal. 500 million startup funds successfully made the company's market value over 100 million after half a year. This account needs to be calculated sideways. This math needs to be taught by a physical education teacher. Someone cries out, why don't I have such an unreasonable dad? Some laugh. The result of achieving the little goal is not really important. The process is crucial. The imagination space is vast. More people are amused and perplexed. While laughing at others, perhaps they should also cry for themselves. Lin Zaiasu wore a smile, but there was also a hint of peculiar light in his eyes. Xia Tian, which son of Kixing Group Xia Zhongling is he? The youngest one, probably the 5th, Ding Ryushui said. Lei Xiaojun and Xia Zhongling, do they indeed intend to push the path of alliance further? Ding Ryushui chuckled. Can't interpret it that way, right? Lei Xiaojun's son married their daughter, so the families naturally interact more frequently. 2 unmarried young people of similar age seeing eye to eye is also natural. True. All the way sped by like the wind. All the way, spring breeze accompanied with whispers. The two chatted freely on various topics, heading towards the Nanhu villa. I have to say, Lin Zaiasu truly felt an extraordinary relaxation being with Ding Ryushui. No emotional burdens, no urgency of tasks. Any topic could be discussed. Any joke could be made. The car drove into Nanhu villa. Gardener old son even showed a smile, holding garden scissors, standing by the flower bed. At the front door, Mrs. Ding had already come out to greet them, her face beaming with joy. Little Sue, Ryushui said that this time to the northwest, you went together, right? Yes, Auntie, throughout the trip every moment we were the closest people in the world, Lin Zaiasu said. Mrs. Ding's face blossomed with joy. Aunt May had a toothache expression. The closest people in the world, a bit poetic, but also carries 3 points of ambiguity. Are you two hugging bears? Otherwise, how do you manage being the closest every moment? Chapter 341. Chapter 341. The thrilling journey of the playboy in scientific research. Ding Ryushui didn't know how to refute him, because everything he said was the truth. In Kunkang, he and she spend over 90% of their time separated by 2 mountain peaks. However, things are always tricky when it comes to relativity. Relatively speaking, they are still among the closest in this world. The key point isn't in the distance but in the prefix, this world. In this world, everyone is tens of thousands of miles away from them, crossing boundaries. The two of them, relatively speaking, are still the closest. The words are correct, but don't you realize this rhetoric has a lot of ambiguity? Mom must have misunderstood, thinking that we were constantly glued at the hip. Otherwise, why would she be smiling so knowingly? Entering the living room, new tea is served. Fruits are served. A round of polite small talk expresses friendliness, after which Mrs. Ding goes to the kitchen to prepare dinner. She calls old Ding to come home for dinner. The lovebirds. Well, the lovebirds in Mrs. Ding's eyes go to the rooftop to enjoy the Nanhu sunset. Ding Lijong came back around dinner time. After a sumptuous dinner, he accompanies Lin Zaiasu on the rooftop for tea. Ding Ryushui, like a dependent little bird, sits beside Lin Zaiasu. Mrs. Ding originally wanted to go up, but seeing the cozy look of these lovebirds, she decides not to interfere. She sends old Ding a message as a reminder, say less, let them have their fun. Unfortunately, old Ding didn't receive it. His habit is not to check his phone often. Uncle Ding, how have things been lately? All right, progress is pretty smooth, Ding Lijong replied. The cooperation between Changsheng Group and Kixing Group, has it deepened? Lin Zaiasu said this casually, as if it were just a random question. It has indeed deepened, Ding Lijong smiled and said. Kixing Group is quite generous, opening its research facilities to Changsheng Group. Our research team has already sent 2 batches to visit their research lines, and the 3rd batch is about to set out. This kind of exchange is inspiring for research. Kixing Group being so generous, what about Changsheng Group? Are they going to do something equivalent? Allow their research team to visit your research outcomes? Ding Lijong laughed. This is the real intention behind your questions, isn't it? You're worried about Changsheng Group's research being leaked. No need to worry about that. What you can come up with, how could the comrades from the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission not think of it? Changsheng Group and Kixing Group are different. They are private. We are semi-state-owned. For major matters, only the largest shareholder has the final decision rights. Our project is special and won't be open to private companies. That's good, Lin Zaiasu smiled slightly. Ding Lijong said, you sit here, I need to go to the study for a bit. He hadn't received the do not disturb message from Mrs. Ding. But maybe this is what they call a tacit connection. He also knew when to step back. Only the 2 of them remain on the rooftop. Ding Ryushui immediately moved a bit further away from him, dispelling the dependency bird illusion. Where's your brother out fooling around again? Lin Zaiasu asked. Ding Ryushui glared at him. How is he fooling around? Let me tell you, his schedule tonight is quite proper. Him quite proper? What schedule is so proper? He just built a brand new power amphibious vehicle. Lin Zaiasu stood in awe. Wow, this playboy really does formal business. Ding Ryushui added. He went to deliver the car to a woman he just met. If all goes as planned tonight, they'll be test driving at East Lake. Test driving, testing the car or the person. Ding Ryushui rolled her eyes more white than black. Can't you focus instead of getting stuck on those trivial matters? He is roaming around, yes, but try looking at it from a different angle. Because of the stimulation from women, his thoughts channel into invention and creation. Every person he messes around with is actually a target for his experimentation. Without this stimulation, do you think anything could possibly motivate a playboy with pocket money in 8 to 9 figures to have the drive and eagerness for research? Lin Zaiasu thought seriously about it and found it very sensible. Humans inevitably indulge in some petty interests sometimes. As long as these petty interests can form inner motivation, encouraging him to accomplish some real tasks, then these petty interests instantly transcend from low level to high level. Very good. I'll take this excuse. If anyone dares to call me Little C again, I'm going to counter them with this statement. After resting at Nanhu Villa for one night, today she faces a meeting with her best friends. Best friends, the relationship between women male best friends are a rather peculiar species not to be discussed by common people, so let's ignore it for now. What kind of relationship is this? Very close, but constantly avoiding mutual competition. Women who are hurt seek comfort from best friends and often receive it. At those times, best friends are good life partners. However, if you think that a best friend hopes for your well-being unconditionally and limitlessly, then you are naive. She hopes you live well, but there are limits. If you're living at about 80% of her standard, that's a relatively comfortable range. Don't surpass it. If you're doing better than her and showing off in front of her, then that may sting her heart a little. To sum it up in one sentence, you may live well, but you cannot be better than her. This is the modern social best friend law. Ding Ryushui is generally a very tranquil person and doesn't like to compare. This is not determined by her female genes, but by her wallet and her unique constitution. She has plenty of money, she is beautiful enough, her bust is high enough, her resources are vast, and she is strong enough. People who lack talent will boast what they have. She has everything, so there's nothing to boast about. But then, women have their inherent qualities. When two best friends meet, they bring their boyfriends along, and the boyfriend shouldn't lose face either. Thus, this morning, Ding Ryushui, accompanied by Lin Zaiasu, entered the city in her brother's personally crafted car. First, they went to a mall and used the money she scammed from her mom yesterday to buy Lin a set of clothes. This outfit was initially meant to be the most expensive one. Her finances are sufficient. Lin Zaiasu refused, and the reason was rather solid. I'm naturally inclined. Wearing a branded item isn't giving myself face. It's advertising for the manufacturer. The darn advertising fee doesn't give me a dime. Why should I advertise his logo? Totally inconsistent with my character of never letting a single feather fly free. Therefore, just choose something comfortable. I won't pick any of those bloody big brands. Thus, he chose a set of sportswear which costs a few hundred yuan, and truth be told, when he emerged from the fitting room in this sportswear, the sales assistant, even as full as her belly desired to sell high-priced brands, couldn't violate her conscience to say he looked unsightly. Ding Ryushui also felt this guy, although having a tendency to brag, indeed has the credentials to do so. Such a figure, such a demeanor. No wonder mom likes him. Next, she takes him to Baiyun Building. Baiyun Building Tea House. Those with some standing in Jiangcheng City like to come to Baiyun Building for business discussion and high-level topic conversations. For two reasons. Firstly, the scenery here is quite good. Secondly, the expenses here are quite high. Baiyun Building is beside East Lake, with lake views and mountain scenery at the back and the bustling city in front. Entering is elegant, going upstairs is high-end. Arriving at the front desk, the serving lady in Hanfu smiles gently. Miss Ding, Miss Lei has arrived. Let me lead you inside. Going to the third floor, the eastern room. The poem on the door reads, White clouds look east, the road is like smoke. This room is named Ruyan Platform. Entering the room, Lin Zaiasu's eyes are immediately drawn to the two people opposite. Lei Zioya, he searched for her photos in Dragon Eye. A prominent group like Changsheng Group has records of its descendants in Dragon Eye, and he must admit, she looks even better now than in the photos. Oval face fair and unique. Plump lips quite seductive. Hair tied up, revealing a swan-like neck, exuding some noble elegance. A gentle smile, displaying endless charm. Beside her sits none other than the trend-setting figure who could create trending catchphrases, Zia Tian. Chapter 342. Chapter 342. The mayor's secretary personally invites. Summer, who appeared to be around 24 or 25 years old, had delicate eyebrows and bright eyes. Yet, his hair seemed casual, blowing in the wind, highlighting a sense of free and easy elegance, as well as the demeanor of a wealthy heir. Or does the demeanor of a wealthy heir manifest? It is ubiquitous. From a spotless white suit to white leather shoes, even the belt was white. The whole outfit virtually glowed with silver thread, and every silver thread was actually a trademark. All were from international luxury brands. International luxury brands manifested in him in a non-standard way. Yet it was precisely this non-standard arrangement that elevated his outfit to unattainable heights, suggesting his attire was custom-made with standard trademark silver threads. Lin Zaiasu only needed a glance to understand why he could condense 500 million starting capital into a market value of 100 million within just half a year. This guy even customized his shirt with luxury brands. How could he possibly fail to spend money? One must know that these so-called international luxury brands can sell a random straw hat for thousands. Money in the hands of these international brand manufacturers has lost its basic logic. All of this perceived in just a glance by Lin Zaiasu. Lei Zaiwa stood up. Ryushui, you're here. Ding Ryushui smiled softly. Yes, you haven't met little Su yet, right? This is my boyfriend Lin Zaiasu. Lei Zaiwa smiled. I've heard you mention him several times, but this is the first time I've met him. This is my boyfriend, Summer. Hello, Lin Zaiasu nodded in greeting to the two. Have a seat. Summer reclined lazily in the armchair, gesturing lightly towards the seat opposite. He didn't stand up, yet his demeanor was still relatively courteous. Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui sat down simultaneously. Lin Zaiasu, right? Summer spoke lazily. Where do you work? I started a business myself, running a small detective agency in Fengcheng, Lin Zaiasu replied. Fengcheng? I don't recall any city called Fengcheng, Summer frowned. It's understandable if you don't know it. Fengcheng is just an 8th-tier small county town. You're actually doing small business in a small county town. Summer seemed very surprised. Is it that surprising? Lin Zaiasu felt somewhat speechless. Ding Ryushui frowned slightly, her gaze turning to Lei Zaiwa, seemingly wondering why Lei Zaiwa's boyfriend behaved so excessively, appearing condescending before her boyfriend, humiliating whom. However, Lei Zaiwa did not meet her gaze. Instead, she watched Summer with great interest. Summer chuckled. Indeed, it's a bit surprising. I heard Miss Ding is from a wealthy family. How come? I'm sorry, I may have overlooked the family background. Wealthy heirs also start their own businesses sometimes. I am one myself. What's Mr. Lin's family business? That's the kind of topic I enjoy discussing. Lin Zaiasu sat up straight. My family is into the business of seasonal biological cultivation engineering. Sounds pretty good. Summer nodded gently. How's the business? The input-output ratio is decent. Decent? How much is that? Each quarter the investment is 1, the output is 10, roughly a tenfold increase. Across various industries, I haven't found any with a higher input-output ratio than my family. He was quite excited chatting about it. Summer seemed a bit bewildered for a moment. Ding Ryushui covered her face with a teacup, her lips twitching slightly. Now it was Lei Zaiwa's turn to look at Ding Ryushui, yet failed to catch her gaze. Suddenly Summer laughed. He laughed heartily. Seasonal biological cultivation engineering, input-output ratio increases tenfold each quarter. If I hadn't known your family background, I'd be fooled by you, haha. It's ridiculous just farming vegetables in the countryside, yet you talk so highly. Where's your face? Lin Zaiasu sighed gently. I wish to be straightforward, but you don't understand grounded plain language. You're used to this tune. What can I do? Poverty isn't a disease, but vanity is. Summer gave a classic evaluation. Lin Zaiasu replied, everyone wants face, but what is face? Understanding varies from person to person. For instance, I initially mentioned starting a business from scratch with no financial help from home, earning nearly 10 million in less than a year. I don't feel like I've lost face. On the contrary, if my family gave me 500 million starting capital, and less than half a year later, I turned it into an asset of over 100 million, I think either my dad is crazy or I'm an idiot. He pledged that he absolutely bore no malice towards Summer. However, Summer's face turned dark. Lei Zaiwa's expression didn't look good either. Ding Ryushui felt victorious inside. I knew it, you dare to show off in front of him. Dare to engage in verbal sparring, you'll suffocate with anger. Who is he? He's someone who can talk circles around my master Li Chushui in Kunkang. Even my master, an ancient demon who has trained for hundreds of years, was stirred by his words and wasn't afraid of this young punk. Suddenly, the door of the tea room was knocked. The waiter opened the door and entered, bowing to Summer. Young Master Zia, there's a boss named Du Yue outside who wishes to see you, sir. Summer's complexion magically regained its luster. Glancing at Lin Ziasu's face, he said faintly, the boss of Blue Sky Technology Company. Yes. A small boss with assets less than 100 million, what's there to meet? Don't bother seeing him. Moreover, a few young masters heard you were in Jiangcheng and also wanted to invite you to dinner. These young masters are all Jiangcheng celebrities, wealthy or noble, the waiter said. Oh, which ones? Summer asked. Li Dong, son of the director Li of Jiangcheng City Security Bureau. Xiang Qing, son of director son of the Drug Supervision Bureau. Wang Xiaolong, son of director son in the municipal office. Continued with 4 or 5 names, each someone from a second generation of officials. Their fathers were all responsible heads of certain departments or offices in Jiangcheng City. Summer's complexion became completely bright, nodding gently. Convey to them, tonight at Dongjiang Restaurant I'll attend. Sure, sir, the waiter withdrew. Summer sighed lightly. Every time I come to Jiangcheng, there's always a bunch of people waiting to host, really bothersome. Zioya, I won't be coming to your place tonight. No worries, you focus on your business. Lei Zioya's face turned red, feeling proud. Again, the door of the room knocked, and the waiter pushed open the door. Behind the waiter was another person, a young man wearing glasses who appeared quite decent. However, Summer's complexion suddenly changed. He stood up abruptly. Secretary Su. The glasses-wearing young man fixed his gaze on him. You are. I'm Summer from the Kixing Group. Last time I visited Mayor He with my father Zia Zhongliang. Secretary Su was also present then. Secretary Su. An official of the division level. Moreover, one beside the deputy provincial level mayor, Mayor He. Lei Zioya also stood up. No matter how wealthy and powerful they were all minor figures before the mayor of this large provincial city. Unfortunately, Secretary Su's gaze slid off them, moving to Lin Ziasu. Detective Lin, hello, I'm secretary to Mayor He. I'm here specifically to invite you today. Mayor He's secretary theoretically shouldn't be called director, yet this is the rule of the officialdom. Those at the same level as Mayor He can call him a secretary with no problem, but anyone lower in Mayor He's absence has to call him director, although he's only a deputy director. Lin Ziasu slightly frowned. Invite me. To be precise, Mayor He invited you specifically, Secretary Su said. Mayor He is also here. He is waiting for you in the car. Lin Ziasu stood up, and his gaze turned to the car parked downstairs, with the license plate last digits being 2. Detective Lin, if you can make time, could you please come downstairs? Secretary Su bowed lightly. All right, I'll go for a walk, Lin Ziasu said. Ryushui, I'll be leaving first. Okay, Ding Ryushui smiled. Lei Zioya's face stiffened slightly. Lin Ziasu followed Secretary Su downstairs. Ding Ryushui also stood up. Zioya, I suddenly remembered I have some matters at home. I'll head out first. Then, without turning back, she exited the tea room. The tea room door gently closed. Lei Zioya stood by the window looking at the car below. She was somewhat suspicious, thinking perhaps this guy deliberately staged an act to discredit both her and Summer. Otherwise, how could a grand mayor possibly invite an unknown nobody? Who do you think you are? However, the car's license plate was indeed the mayor's car. Chapter 343. Chapter 343, A Headless Case. On Jiangcheng Street, a small car quietly parked under the shade of a tree. Secretary Su opened the car door, and Lin Ziasu saw He Gaisheng inside. Detective Lin, please come in. He Gaisheng slightly nodded in greeting. Lin Ziasu entered the car, and Secretary Su closed the door behind him, opened the driver's door, and sat in the driver's seat. The doors all closed, the car started slowly and moved along the great Dao by the lake. Mayor, he wanted to see me. Is there something going on? Lin Ziasu asked. He Gaisheng replied, there is a case, somewhat special, and I'd like you to help investigate it. Lin Ziasu was slightly surprised. Go on. There was a man named Lu Qianjin who jumped into the Han River branch at San He Reservoir to commit suicide on the 17th of last month, and no body was found. Lin Ziasu asked, has it been reported to the police? Yes, Shen Yinchuan is personally in charge, but he found nothing, He Gaisheng said. The reason I'm looking for you today is actually on his suggestion. On Shen Yinchuan's suggestion. Lin Ziasu smiled slightly, all right. Alive, we need to find the person. Dead, we need to find the body. Can you manage that? He Gaisheng leaned forward slightly. I'll get right on it and do my best. He Gaisheng said, shall I give Shen Yinchuan a call? Let me do it. Lin Ziasu extended his hand, the phone in his hand, dialing. On the other end, Shen Yinchuan's voice came through, Little Su. Lin Ziasu said, today's Han River spring is perfect for fishing in the wind. Wanna go catch a fish? There was silence on the other side for 3 seconds. In half an hour, I'll pick you up at Wan Family Pier. All right. Lin Ziasu put down the phone and cast his gaze toward He Gaisheng. He Gaisheng smiled slightly, Wan Family Pier. The car raced toward Wan Family Pier. Lin Ziasu disembarked, and the car returned to the city government. Ziosu, what do you think about today's events? He Gaisheng smiled slightly. What I saw the leaders saw too. I didn't think too much. Ziosu hesitated. Don't worry, speak everything out. Ziosu contemplated for a moment, took a deep breath. Then leader, I'll really say it. Go ahead. Ziosu said, Shen Yinchuan has an unusual relationship with him. He could have directly asked him for help, but he deliberately took a big detour, went to your office, and asked you to intervene to then ask Lin Ziasu to act. He's paving the way for Lin Ziasu. Paving the way? Ziosu said, maybe it's not paving the way, but a well-intentioned effort to resolve any grievances you, the leader, may have against Lin Ziasu. Unfortunately, he underestimated you. You actually don't hold any grudges against Lin Ziasu at all, so there's no need for any resolution. He Gaisheng nodded lightly. Although he did underestimate me from his perspective, having this thought is not surprising. What about Lin Ziasu? What else did you notice? Lin Ziasu made the phone call to Shen Yinchuan right in front of you, and did so as if they were close friends. I think he also had an intention. He hopes you will mentor Shen Yinchuan. He Gaisheng laughed. Ziosu, you've been with me for a few years. You know some of the tricks, but you still need to further open your perspective and enhance your ability to see the essence through phenomena. Ziosu was slightly stunned. He Gaisheng collected his smile. He made the call in front of me, and indeed had a purpose, but it was absolutely not to hope I would mentor Shen Yinchuan. If that were the purpose, then I'd say he's underestimated me, underestimated Shen Yinchuan, and overestimated himself. Then, what was his intention? Ziosu genuinely didn't understand anymore. He Gaisheng provided the answer. He's sending me a signal. Shen Yinchuan can be trusted. Trusted? Ziosu was a bit puzzled. Not mentorship, just trust. Don't underestimate the word trust. He Gaisheng's gaze slowly lifted, looking through the car window at the sky. In this treacherous and perilous era, where various infiltrations are emerging all the time, I indeed need a trustworthy criminal investigation team captain to make crucial decisions during key moments. Ziosu's mind was a tangled mess, but he seemed to find a pivotal point suddenly. Mayor He, does his trust in Shen Yinchuan mean? Does it mean Qianlong also trusts Shen Yinchuan? You finally realized. He Gaisheng gently exhaled. Ziosu, do you know why I had to make sure you understood this clearly? Mayor He, please tell me. Some matters have already reached deep waters. I don't know what awaits me if. I'm only saying if. If one day you need to make an independent decision, remember these 5 words. Trust Shen Yinchuan. Wan Family Pier. A very old pier. Its age comes from a poor and backward era, when Western powers used gunboats to forcibly open up Daxia country, and Western forces entered Daxia. This pier was the landing point for the Western powers along the Yangtze River. Thus, it was called Wan Family Pier. The Wan family might be exaggerated, but there were indeed dozens of countries back then. Now, with the establishment of Daxia country, and with the nation's strength increasing, Western warships traversing the Yangtze River are things of the past, and today Wan Family Pier, filled with merchant ships, only represents the commercial prosperity of the Jiangcheng that connects 9 provinces. Lin Ziasu leaned against a tree, his gaze cast toward the Yangtze River. A speedboat skimmed the water surface and made a beautiful drift to a stop next to the pier. On the speedboat, a middle-aged man dressed in casual clothes raised his eyes to meet Lin Zaiasu. He was the criminal investigation team captain, Shen Yinchuan. Lin Zaiasu stepped onto the speedboat. "Brother, today seems like a break amid the busyness." "A break amid busyness," Shen Yinchuan replied. "Wrong, entirely wrong, 2 mistakes in your 4 words." "Come on, 4 words, 2 mistakes, explain it." "You said I'm busy, but I'm not busy at all." Shen Yinchuan started the speedboat, heading toward the Han River branch. His voice carried in the wind, not fading at all. "We just caught 5 second-level bosses yesterday, and you're not busy." 5 second-level bosses were taken over overnight yesterday, and the whole case has been totally separated from us. Shen Yinchuan glanced back. "Little brother, don't you feel you stirred up a huge hornet's nest yesterday?" "No big deal, I mess with hornet's nests every day," Lin Zaiasu said. "Let's hear about the second mistake." "The second mistake, you said it was a break." Shen Yinchuan let out a long sigh. "A break, my ass. The matter we have to handle is giving me a headache just thinking about it." The case was laid out on this speedboat. The person who Mayor He was concerned about jumping into the river to commit suicide was named Liu Qianjin. Why is the mayor so concerned? Because this person used to be best friends with his son. He Bin went to Liuoba State because he strongly encouraged him. He Bin, leveraging his father He Gaisheng's influence, helped introduce some enterprises in which he was also involved. After He Bin's death, He Gaisheng initiated investigations into these enterprises and found numerous suspicious points concerning Liu Qianjin. However, just the night before He Gaisheng planned to take action against Liu Qianjin, Liu Qianjin committed suicide by jumping into the river. Many people witnessed his jump. At that time, some people unaware of the situation even tried to rescue him. But in that area, the current is rapid and deep, the undercurrent is strong, and before the rescuers could get close, Liu Qianjin had already disappeared in the water. Afterward, the incident was reported to the police, who searched the river over 30 miles, with the Yangtze River Rescue Team employing various rescue equipment and a lot of manpower, but they never found him. His disappearance plunged the investigation into those enterprises into a deadlock. In official circles, doubts about He Gaisheng increased, and some even claimed that He Gaisheng, due to his son's death, harbored resentment against others and maliciously retaliated against properly operated enterprises, pushing people to death. He Gaisheng was under a lot of pressure. And Shen Yinchuan, also under considerable pressure. After all, he was appointed by Mayor He himself. Chapter 344. Chapter 344. Detective Divine Skill Beyond Comprehension. These matters, He Gaisheng did not mention a single word to Lin Zaiasu. Because he knew that Shen Yinchuan was aware of these things, it was more appropriate for Shen Yinchuan to inform Lin Zaiasu about the case. The case was just such an unsolvable mystery. The thing that troubled Shen Yinchuan the most at the moment was this unsolvable case. Lin Zaiasu's eyes narrowed slightly. "You definitely conducted a thorough investigation. What was his family's reaction?" "That kid was from that mountain. I visited his home and met his parents. As soon as they heard their son was missing, they called the police right in front of me. I have to admire them," Shen Yinchuan said. "They definitely lamented loudly, and the tears in their eyes seemed real, but whether it was true or not, only the devil knows. My brother, I really sympathize with you for taking on this task. It's truly beyond human capability." Lin Zaiasu was stunned. "Wait, you're feeling sympathetic now. Wasn't it you who recommended me to Mayor He for this task? Even if I was placed on the grill, wasn't it you who directly put the fork in? You just don't recognize a good heart." Shen Yinchuan gave him a sideways glance. "I saw you got his son killed, and I was afraid he'd hold a grudge against you, so I created an opportunity for you two to meet and resolve the conflict. Brother, just worry about your own affairs. Please don't worry about mine, okay?" Lin Zaiasu was speechless. "I can't owe anyone a debt of gratitude. Once you put this hat of gratitude on me, I have no choice but to handle this unsolvable case." Shen Yinchuan's eyes lit up. "Is there a way?" Lin Zaiasu sighed at that look. "I'm a bit worried, really." "What are you worried about?" "I'm worried that if I display my legendary detective skills in front of you, it will cause endless trouble. In the future, when you encounter problems, you'll definitely call me, and it'll never end." "Absolutely impossible," Shen Yinchuan said. "If I call you for help even once, may my son never find a wife." "You're even willing to bet on your son finding a wife, such a solemn matter. I'll trust you this time, Lin Zaiasu said. The place where he jumped into the river is just ahead, right? Yes, Shen Yinchuan said. I've brought diving equipment. Should we go down into the river? That happened half a month ago, brother. Are you going to search for a person now? Do you overestimate human vitality or underestimate the appetite of the big fish in the river? Lin Zaiasu said. No, going into the river is to understand the scene and determine the direction of the body flow. Forget it, whatever you can think of, those specializing in water rescue would have thought of too, wouldn't they? Lin Zaiasu said. You go to the village and check the latest situation again. What about you? I have my own search plan. Let's act separately but contact whenever there's a finding. Shen Yinchuan looked at him, eyes flickering. Are you not planning to let me see your investigative process? Isn't that obvious? This is ancestral craftsmanship, my livelihood. If I don't keep it secret, how will I earn a living? Cut. Ancestral craftsmanship, your family tradition is farming. Do you think I became the criminal investigation team leader for nothing? Shen Yinchuan said. Fine, let's do as you say. I indeed need to take a trip to the mountain. They drove the speedboat to the riverside and dragged it ashore. Shen Yinchuan went to the mountain. Lin Zaiasu watched him walk far away and activated time retrospection. No matter how close the two of them were, no matter if they trusted each other, Lin Zaiasu always held something back. Because time retrospection is truly too bizarre. With his comprehension of the space-time law, he slowly unraveled the principle behind time retrospection. This time retrospection skill first appears to be an immortal skill. But in fact, it's a law. Time law, reverse time in essence, is time flowing backward. The immortal skill has shed its immortal garment but entered the core of Tao. He found it difficult to judge whether he should be comforted or desolate, but no matter what, the space-time law was ultimately something he had to keep secret. No matter whom he faced. Even his totally trusted wives. Why does the word wives sound awkward? Under the reverse time, it seemed that 10+ days of day and night alternated before Lin Zaiasu's eyes. Finally, during an afternoon when dense clouds covered the sky and the wind rose over the river, he saw that person. He stood atop a cliff, looking utterly lost and forlorn. However, under the heavenly Tao wisdom eye, Lin Zaiasu clearly saw that there were occasional glimmers in his eyes, as if probing the surroundings. Suddenly, he jumped off the cliff. Indeed, he jumped down. However, the movements when he jumped and the subtle actions in midair all declared one point. He was a genetic person. For ordinary people entering the water, in such a water body, there likely isn't any chance of survival. But for a genetic person, it was a different matter altogether. Lin Zaiasu's gaze followed the reverse flow of time, penetrating the water's surface and entering beneath the surface. Then his figure moved, and he too jumped into the river. When ordinary people search for a body in the river, they naturally should go downstream, but curiously, Lin Zaiasu went upstream. Why? Because 10+ days before, that silhouette went upstream. This initial stage was already different. This initial stage, in fact, also fully explained that the person supposedly committing suicide by jumping into the river that day was actually just creating a diversion, because he was heading upstream. This was also Lin Zaiasu's extraordinary detective skill. As long as the source is locked, all variables are in control. He Gaisheng asked him, can you find the person alive or find the corpse if dead? In fact, Lin Zaiasu could have answered him right then. Rest assured, no problem. He just didn't want people to mythologize him, hence he responded that he'd do his best. And today, sending Shen Yinchuan away was also out of necessity. Because today's investigative chain was too difficult to complete. About 10 days ago. Again in the river water. Can you say the aura is still there? Can you say that some clues still remain? You might fool ghosts, but you can't fool the head of the criminal investigation team, so sorry, we can only ask Comrade Old Shen to take a stroll in the mountains. Entering the river water, Lin Zaiasu had a very strange feeling. He felt his water skills were excellent. They weren't this good before. Why does he now feel so at ease in the water, not even needing to breathe? The whole body skin can breathe. There is probably only one explanation. His true qi has integrated with the water element of the 5 elements qi mechanism. This was the gain from the last trip into Kunkang. A water element spirit beast, snatched from the hands of Saintess Li Bingxin of Chunchui Palace. Oh no, one over from her. He swam underwater for 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles. Finally, he surfaced at a place ahead. As soon as he came ashore, his clothes mysteriously dried. This is a small town. Its name is Jiangchuan. Although Jiangchuan town is just a town, it's close to Jiangcheng, so it's more prosperous than a typical county town. Tall buildings lined the streets, roads were wide and crowds were bustling. Lin Ziasu crossed half the street, climbed to the top of a tavern, and cast his gaze to the left. On the left was a manor, very quiet and quite imposing. His eyes slowly brightened. With a reach of his hand, a phone appeared out of thin air in his palm. The phone frantically searched for a signal and quickly displayed full bars. The call was made. Up the mountain, Lin Ziasu uttered 4 words. Only 2 miles away from the target, Shen Yinchuan said. No need, come over and drink. Shen Yinchuan stepped on a stone, and a crack silently crept across it, his eyes bright as stars. Are you sure we don't need to go? Completely sure. Nowhere else to go, just come to me directly. Where at? Jiangchuan Town, Fenghai Building. Jiangchuan Town. This is upstream of the Yangtze River, not downstream. Shen Yinchuan's heart suddenly skipped a beat. With a swoosh, Shen Yinchuan spun on the spot and took only 5 minutes to reach the riverbank, caring little about revealing his skills. The speedboat was still there. As Shen Yinchuan raised his hand, the speedboat flew directly towards the river, leaving a white arc behind as it sped upstream. About half an hour, Shen Yinchuan entered Fenghai Building. In the second-floor restaurant, Lin Ziasu already had a plate of peanuts, a plate of sunflower seeds, and a pot of tea in front of him. 2 sets of tableware were also placed. As Shen Yinchuan closed the door, his eyes shone brightly. The target is really in that manner. How did you discover it? Luck was truly on our side. Just happened to run into an old man, and he just happened to have seen someone climbing out of the river at a certain time point. Luck. Shen Yinchuan's stomach churned. Do you think I believe it? But now is not the time to explore the mysteries of his detective skill. The focus is to find Lu Qianjin. So we go now. I've already ordered the dishes, but this tavern is said to be notoriously slow in serving, so while we're idle, let's deal with that kid who ran away in the water, then come back and enjoy the meal. When Shen Yinchuan stepped out of the tavern, he was full of resentment. I probably can't do investigations with you, kid. Every time I work a case with you, it always seems easy. This is a problem. This kind of illusion must be avoided. Chapter 345. Chapter 345, Demon Sound. Enter the villa. This villa functions as a club. There was a gatekeeper who saw them approaching. Gentlemen, do you have a membership card? No, Shen Yinchuan said, but I have this. He raised his hand, revealing a black credential in his palm with 3 large characters, police badge. The gatekeeper was stunned. Will this work? The gatekeeper lifted his hand and the side door opened. Please come in, officers. Over there, Lin Ziasu raised his gaze and signaled. Shen Yinchuan followed his gaze and saw the swing set swaying in the small garden. There was someone on the swing, holding a cell phone and taking a call. From the side profile, comparing it to the image in his memory. The hair was different. Lu Qianjin's hair hung down, but this person's hair was combed up. Lu Qianjin wasn't in the habit of wearing glasses, but this person had gold-rimmed glasses. Indeed, just by combing the hair up and wearing gold-rimmed glasses, this person's image was significantly altered. Even if passing right in front of him, he might not recognize them. In modern society, disguising oneself as another person truly may not require sophisticated disguise techniques. Deceiving the beholder's first impression can achieve the effect because there are just too many people and personnel movement is too complex. However, given a preconceived impression, the facial contours of this person increasingly match the comparison. In his line of sight, near the base of the hairline on the neck, a black mole caught his eye. Shen Yinchuan's heart trembled. It's him. Both of them quickened their pace, but not too fast, because there were others around. They also had to guard against the opponent getting desperate. Quietly getting closer. Lu Qianjin remained unaware and was still on the swing taking a call. The swing even leisurely swayed. 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters. Suddenly, Lu Qianjin's phone fell to the ground. He tumbled head first off the swing. With a thud, his head hit the ground first. In the small garden, Two women walking side by side screamed simultaneously. Shen Yinchuan's face changed dramatically, and he couldn't care about exposure anymore. He stepped forward to Lu Qianjun, extended his hand, and lifted him off the ground. Lu Qianjun's body was still warm, his limbs still soft, but when Shen Yinchuan placed his fingers under Lu Qianjun's nose, they sprang back as if shocked. Shen Yinchuan looked up in astonishment at Lin Ziasu. From his extensive criminal investigation knowledge, it seemed Lu Qianjun was dead. Lin Ziasu extended his hand, a finger pointing at Lu Qianjun's forehead, simultaneously investigating with his heavenly Tao primordial spirit. His complexion changed as well. The brain has suffered a fatal impact, destructive. Shen Yinchuan could only discern that Lu Qianjun seemed dead. But Lin Ziasu's methods were far superior, more clearly determining that the brain had suffered a fatal impact. Because his heavenly Tao primordial spirit as I could almost clearly see all the structures inside the brain. Moreover, he could see through time-space reversal, the terrifying scene at the moment of impact. Just 1 minute ago. Inside Lu Qianjun's brain, all of a sudden, a wave seemed to rise. Like a long serpent rushing to the surface, it swept across his brain, and in just the blink of an eye, all the structures inside Lu Qianjun's brain were completely destroyed. The brain suffered a fatal impact, like a shockwave. Shen Yinchuan's expression was extremely serious. Yes, similar to a shockwave. Shen Yinchuan said, phone demon sound taking a life. 3 cases have occurred in Jiangcheng within less than 1 year. This is the 4th one. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. This call was to his colleagues in a specialized department. This department was established specifically for various strange cases and is internally known as the Special Cases Team. The entire villa was in chaos. Shen Yinchuan said, Little Su, return to the restaurant first. I'll handle the matters at hand and discuss with you later. All right, Lin Ziasu took a deep breath and left the noisy villa. He returned to Fenghai building. Half an hour passed, and police cars arrived on the road. They were from the Special Cases Team. All these people were genetic people. Because this group handles all cases related to superpowers, the officers must also possess superpowers. Lin Ziasu lifted his teacup, his thoughts returning to the earlier scene. He did not need to wait for case analysis. He merely needed one glance to imprint all the scenes, all the details into his mind. What he needed was to organize some links in between. A homicide occurred in the villa. Fenghai building remained unaware, continuing with business as usual. The dishes on Lin Ziasu's table were served, but he didn't move his chopsticks. He was waiting. 1 hour later, the police cars left the villa, and Shen Yinchuan with a somber face entered the room. He picked up the cold tea on the table and drank it in one gulp. Little Su, I don't have much time. I need to finish this meal within 5 minutes. Let's start. Lin Ziasu picked up his chopsticks. The meal was finished within 2 minutes. Lin Ziasu placed his bowl on the table. We have 3 minutes left, enough for me to ask you a few questions. Ask away. Phone demon sound taking a life. Has it occurred 4 times in Jiangcheng over 6 months? Yes. What did the Special Cases Team find out? The phone signal was transmitted through a foreign satellite. Even Qianlong couldn't trace its origin, Shen Yinchuan said. So, have they figured out the principle behind the murders? The principle behind the murders. How does the demon sound remotely kill through the phone? The consensus formed initially as subsonic waves, Shen Yinchuan said. Subsonic waves. Lin Ziasu's heart skipped a beat. He knew that sound waves could kill. Moreover, he had seen it personally and even felt it firsthand. The subsonic waves he felt originated from a Qianlong king, Miao Yin Heavenly King. So could subsonic waves genuinely kill remotely through phones? Theoretically acceptable. But in reality, he might need further consultation. Shen Yinchuan stood up. I have to report to Mayor He. Your task is considered complete and things will be very busy from now on. I must leave. With those words, Shen Yinchuan departed. Lin Ziasu watched him leave. A day's operation stemmed from He Gaisheng's commission. He completed this commission, and did so remarkably well. Mayor He's request regarding Lu Qianjun, who jumped into the Han River 10+ days ago, was to see the person in life and the body in death. He found Lu Qianjun in just half a day. Initially, he met the person, then that person turned into a corpse. The unexpected demon sound taking a life robbed this quest to find someone of a perfect ending, but this wasn't his fault. It was merely an unexpected variable that even immortals couldn't make every step perfect. Next, Shen Yinchuan had his own actions, pursuing the signal source, though highly probable that they would never find it. Identifying who's sending this deadly signal, again, very unlikely to find out. Although the suspect behind it suddenly used demon sound to take Lu Qianjin's life today, apparently because Shen Yinchuan and Lin Ziaosu had targeted Lu Qianjin, leading to murder to silence him, but ultimately who's controlling it, they couldn't find. It could be someone in the villa, possibly someone monitoring remotely, or even someone in a little mountain village, or maybe a fisherman by the river. With the mindful observing the unmindful, the possibilities are endless. Trying to precisely target this suspect, even immortals probably couldn't do it. If Lin Ziaosu had moments in his detective career where he felt helpless, it would likely be with such high-tech crimes. Perhaps another lead could provide some understanding. Chapter 346. Chapter 346, The Mystery of Subsonic Technique. Lin Ziaosu extended his hand and put on the dragon eye. The dragon eye was originally a Qianlong resource, and wearing the dragon eye was akin to stepping halfway into the inner circle of Qianlong. He used a member search feature and added someone. Once added, the other party instantly accepted. In the dragon eye, it was as if a veil was lifted, revealing a small river. Beside the river, there was a jade zither. Next to the jade zither, a beautiful woman. Considering only her looks, she would score about 6 out of 10. However, combined with her transcendent and refined aura, her beauty would at least score 8. Because she was the most transcendent person in Qianlong, she was the Miao Yin Heavenly King. Ordinary members attempting to add Heavenly King-level characters typically face instant rejection, not only due to taboo, but also due to discipline. Yet Lin Ziaosu's addition was instantly accepted. Miao Yin Heavenly King smiled slightly. I didn't expect you to add me. I added you because of a sudden case involving a subsonic technique. I believe that no one in the world understands subsonic better than you, Lin Ziaosu said. A subsonic murder case, Miao Yin Heavenly King asked. Yes. Where did it happen? In Jiangcheng, Lin Ziaosu replied. I'd like to ask you, can subsonic technique kill remotely via phone? Theoretically, there's a possibility, but to operate, it's quite inconceivable, Miao Yin Heavenly King elaborated. Subsonic is a type of sound wave. There are many ways it can be produced. It can occur naturally, such as during tsunamis, often accompanied by subsonic harm. Modern technology always seeks inspiration from nature. What nature can accomplish, modern technology often can as well. Hence, modern technology can also produce subsonic. However, the lethality of subsonic is differentiated. This kind of replicable subsonic doesn't have much lethality on living beings. Naturally occurring subsonic has mild effects on birds, causing disorientation, erratic behavior, or inciting fear in smaller creatures. This is why during natural disasters, animals behave abnormally, as if sensing a sixth sense. However, generally, subsonic doesn't directly cause death. Birds often die from crashing into things. Except in one case. That is special subsonic. For example, the subsonic from Miao Yin Heavenly King. This subsonic is generated by special genes. Its power can't be measured by conventional means. Lin Ziaosu roughly understood. If you use subsonic technique to kill, what kind of destructive scenario occurs inside the other's brain? Miao Yin Heavenly King frowned. That's a question I truly can't answer, since it's impossible to lift someone's skull while deploying subsonic technique and closely observe the scene inside the brain at the precise moment of activation. I can only tell you a general result, which is that the internal brain cells silently rupture. Silently? Lin Ziaosu asked. You mean, even with careful observation, one wouldn't actually see the storm inside the brain? You're overthinking it. The lethality of subsonic technique lies in creating damage from the smallest parts and certainly won't form a visually perceivable shockwave. To form a visually perceivable shockwave, the subsonic mastery must be 10 times stronger than mine, Miao Yin Heavenly King said. But in today's world, there's no one like that, not within my cognitive framework at least. Lin Ziaosu's heart surged with waves. No such mastery exists. Then what about the brainstorms I saw with my heavenly Tao primordial spirit, like waves surging in a storm? Where did they come from? Miao Yin Heavenly King personally told him her subsonic mastery falls far short. Could anyone actually surpass her tenfold? If her judgment is correct, then the origin of the subsonic murder case could be wrong. It might not actually be subsonic-induced murder at all. If you want to know more about subsonic, I can send you some information, Miao Yin Heavenly King said. This is all my research on subsonic over the years. Lin Ziasu was startled. Is this appropriate? Miao Yin Heavenly King is the world's foremost subsonic researcher today. Her research results must be one of Qianlong's most confidential data. Sending it to him. No big deal, it's ultimately my personal research, and sharing with you frankly, there's some personal agenda behind it. Personal agenda? Miao Yin Heavenly King explained. I use special genes as the foundation for deploying subsonic technique, however, using genes as a basis is a capped path. Proven by tests, modern technology can replicate but can only achieve surface results without grasping its essence, unable even to match my level. I want to try another entirely new approach to overcome the bottleneck of this magic. True Qi martial arts, Lin Ziasu asked. Indeed, ancient martial cultivators, when compared to modern genetic people, have the greatest advantage in that ancient martial cultivation is boundless, and true Qi is omnipotent. Anything genetic people can do, ancient martial can accomplish. Anything modern technology can accomplish, true Qi seems capable of as well. Hence, your received information is deemed scientific exploration. A piece of information popped up in front of Lin Ziasu. This is an encrypted file with only 1 hour, after which it automatically expires. Non-replicable, 1 hour only. This is what Miao Yin Heavenly King provided him. Accompanied by a seemingly genuine reason, scientific exploration. In today's world, 3 factions coexist. Modern technology, genetics, ancient martial arts. Modern technology is pure external force, it's external. Genes are the change of the flesh, they are internal. And ancient martial arts are the Tao. Genetic people peak at the start, which is their greatest advantage and disadvantage. The advantage is skipping prolonged cultivation hardships, but the disadvantage is no path beyond the peak. Technology seems omnipotent with a never-ending frontier. However, technology is merely external force. Ancient martial arts start challenging. Cultivation is long but also endless. Furthermore, it is internal cultivation. The higher you reach, the less reliant on external force. Thus, Miao Yin Heavenly King opened her signature divine skill, subsonic technique to Lin Ziasu, naming it scientific exploration. Yet behind this scientific exploration is her full trust. You're leaving me at a loss of words, Lin Ziasu sighed lightly. This sigh signified understanding her full sentiment. Don't say anything, focus all your mind, you only have 1 hour. No, now it's only 58 minutes. Lin Ziasu blinked and accepted the information. The information unfolded in front of him. The mysteries of subsonic technique were fully revealed. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. Lin Ziasu blinked again, and the information vanished without a trace. 10 minutes, Miao Yin Heavenly King sighed softly. If you've memorized it all, I truly must believe what Blood Trace King said. You only need 3 days and nights to master Da Kongxuan from De Rai Xiaoao Temple. Your martial arts insight is unparalleled. This, perhaps, is also one of the reasons Miao Yin Heavenly King entrusted this information to him, at least one among them. Using martial methods to interpret genetic people's unique skills. While it's exploration, not just anyone is qualified to explore. It requires extraordinary insight. And Lin Ziasu's insight is already seen as miraculous in Blood Trace King's eyes. Miao Yin Heavenly King was moved by what Blood Trace King said. Lin Ziasu chuckled. Aren't you worried that someday in the future, the domain of subsonic secret technique, you won't be the only one? Miao Yin Heavenly King chuckled. Isn't it lonely for one person to walk alone in a field? All right, I'll strive to ensure this path isn't lonely. I look forward to it. The dragon eye shut down. Lin Ziasu took a deep breath and left Fengai building. The sun was already not far from West Mountain. He arrived on the street and caught a cab to Jiangcheng's South Lake Bay Villa Group. Chapter 347, Chapter 347, heading south to Yangcheng. The taxi started. Lin Ziasu closed his eyes to relax. Some knowledge of the infrasound technique was rapidly playing out in his mind. He grew increasingly confident in his understanding. The Jiangcheng Police's Special Cases team had concluded that the mysterious death by magic sound couldn't be the infrasound technique, because the wave he sensed through the heavenly Tao primordial spirit didn't match the characteristics of the infrasound technique. This judgment was based on two key points. First, his comprehensive understanding of the infrasound technique. Second, he possessed the heavenly Tao primordial spirit, and more importantly, the ability of time-space reversal, allowing him to precisely see the moment Lu Qianjin died and the brain turmoil leading to its complete destruction. These two key points were beyond the reach of the Special Cases team. It could even be said that there was probably only one person in the world who could find it all: him. This had transcended detective work and entered the realm of true divine skill. At this moment in Jiangcheng, the mayor's office, He Gaisheng had an expression that shifted like stormy clouds. In just half a day, Lin Ziasu had indeed found Lu Qianjin. This was a miracle. Although he had never underestimated this detective coming from Little Feng Cheng, today's events still shocked him. This was simply not human. However, the subsequent events once again struck at his nerves. The mysterious death by magic sound. It's truly magic sound. What did the Special Cases team say? Their judgment is still the infrasound technique, Shen Yinchuan replied. Infrasound technique. Sometimes modern technology is truly terrifying, He Gaisheng said. A phone call can kill someone. Who in this world can escape from it? This black hand must be removed, otherwise dark clouds will linger over all of Daxia. Who wouldn't agree? Shen Yinchuan deeply felt this. Even he, as the captain of the criminal investigation team, was anxious while answering a few phone calls today. Why did the public know so little about the mysterious death by magic sound? Simply because the police intentionally sealed off such news. They feared that once the news spread, public panic would become inevitable. After all, in modern society, everyone receives innumerable phone calls daily. If they knew that calls could lead to silent death, what could be done? Surely one cannot stop answering calls forever. If society cannot be reverted back to primitive times, then the news must be sealed to maintain temporary calm. He Gaisheng slowly lifted his gaze. Does he have any way to identify this black hand? His he evidently referred to Lin Ziasu. In his mind at this moment, Lin Ziasu was truly the world's top detective. Shen Yinchuan replied. The whole process was in front of him. If there were a way, he should have mentioned it already. His silence suggests he's equally clueless about this new killing technique. Ultimately, every detective faces the challenge of high-tech tactics, and high-tech crime methods might even touch upon his knowledge blind spot and tracking weaknesses. Indeed, detective tracking relies on clues, yet the mysterious death by magic sound leaves no trace. He Gaisheng said. The resurrection of Lu Qianjin validates our prior suspicions about those businesses. After some arrangements, Shen Yinchuan left the mayor's office. Meanwhile, at Nanhu Villa district, Lin Ziasu arrived by taxi at the road before Ding's villa. The rippling waters of Nanhu manifested under his heavenly Tao wisdom eye. Lin Ziasu saw a large fish beneath the waves. Suddenly his heart raced. The ripples were caused by the fish beneath the waves. Could it be that the brainstorm at Lu Qianjin's moment of death also resulted from a living organism? His human Tao orchid heart replayed the scene from the crime scene. He had a startling revelation, suspecting that before Lu Qianjin died, there seemed to be a living organism in his brain, perhaps insects maybe. Countless insects. He extended his hand and made a call to Shen Yinchuan. Chief Shen, check whether there was any living organism or toxin in Lu Qianjin's brain. Shen Yinchuan replied, the brain autopsy is complete, and there were no living organisms or toxins. The initial judgment matches previous cases of mysterious death by magic sound. No external injuries, but all brain cells were destroyed by an unseen entity, perfectly matching the characteristics of infrasound harm. The call ended. Lin Ziasu knitted his brows tightly. Dismissed. No living organisms, no toxins. Which step was flawed? He got out of the taxi, paid the fare, and approached Ding's villa. Ding Ryushui swiftly stood up after Old Sun, the gardener, opened the gate and arrived at the courtyard door. Her mother followed closely behind, smiling brightly. I was just scolding Ryushui. I said she's useless, went on a trip and lost her boyfriend. Ding Ryushui exclaimed. I've been telling her you were called away by the mayor personally, and she still doesn't believe me. Little Sue quickly explained, is that what happened? Yes, I just helped Mayor he with a case. With Lin Ziaosu's confirmation, Mrs. Ding believed. It's not that I don't believe, mainly. Well, let's not talk about it. Sir, come inside. She didn't continue because the subject was somewhat taboo. Earlier at the wedding, Lin Ziaosu had a conflict with He Bin, who died at the ceremony, leaving Mrs. Ding deeply concerned. She's consistently worried about Mayor He's hostility towards him. This time Ding Ryushui returned, saying Mayor He specifically invited him, and she frankly didn't believe it. For most parents, Mayor He surely harbors resentment, and even if he's in no position to retaliate as a mayor, it's certainly unlikely she'd invite him. But Lin Ziaosu confirmed it. Mrs. Ding thus believed. Regardless of whether she believed it or not, her prospective son-in-law returned safe and sound, and by taxi alone, suggesting his relationship with her daughter remained intact, which sufficed. With the son-in-law's arrival, her plan enacted. She went to arrange dinner in the kitchen, called Old Ding home, then let her daughter and son-in-law accompany each other on the rooftop. At sunset by Nanhu Villa rooftop, no one around. Ding Ryushui felt slightly embarrassed. Today Zia Tian was outrageous. Once you left, I immediately followed. Zioya recently texted to apologize. I haven't replied. That bastard, born loser, idiot, lacks any character. Born idiot, Lin Ziaosu slightly smiled. If he's truly an idiot, then fine, there's plenty of idiots globally, one more nor less doesn't matter, but... His voice paused. His gaze became mysterious. Ding Ryushui slightly startled. You mean, he's not an idiot? Some occurrences are peculiar, Lin Ziaosu said. Upon detailed analysis, it indeed seems bizarre. Do share. Ding Ryushui poured him some tea, placing it beside him. Lin Ziaosu took the cup, sipping gently. You may call Zia Tian an idiot, but I believe no one would call Zia Zhongling an idiot. Yet this seemingly not an idiot person performs actions akin to idiocy. Such as the saying goes, no one knows a son better than his father. We all know Zia Tian is an idiot, yet his father Zia Zhongling surely knows this too. So why does he let this idiot spread a joke worldwide? Ding Ryushui was taken aback. True. Even if Zia Zhongling doesn't mind a loss of 4 or 5 minor goals, he must care about the Zia family's reputation, sacrificing billions making his son a worldwide joke. Why? Modern society is chaotic. Sometimes seemingly unreasonable acts have logical explanations. Lin Ziaosu stated, take, for instance, Zia Tian's antics are a joke, yet because of him, Kixing Group gained nationwide fame is such invisible advertising expense and massive traffic worth billions. So, its negative exposure is still exposure, Ding Ryushui gasped. Chapter 348. Chapter 348. An alternative interpretation of the Super Playboy. This is a new perspective. Everyone only sees Zia Tian as a joke in the business world. But few notice the impact of this joke on Kixing Group. In modern enterprises, becoming a household name is very difficult. Some invest enormous sums in advertising but still fail to become nationally known, while Zia Tian's small goal has become a viral meme, introducing millions of people to Kixing Group first through this meme. It has achieved what ordinary advertisements cannot. From an advertising standpoint, Zia Zhongling wasting 4 or 5 small goals to achieve this kind of advertising effect seems like a very successful marketing strategy. You say black and red is still red, but that's not entirely accurate, Lin Ziaosu remarked. Black and red, the theme is black, and anything involving this word often has to endure the backlash that comes with black. The clever part of Zia Tian's viral meme is that it seems black but is. The persona Zia Tian created is just a flamboyant playboy. Does a playboy count as bad? Not exactly, at least not thoroughly bad. Countless people envy him yet don't dislike him. His random words on social media are widely quoted, and his current role in Kixing Group is not something a mere celebrity or idol spokesperson can achieve. Ding Ryushui said, listening to your analysis suddenly gives me the impression that Zia Zhongling is quite shrewd. He spent just 4 or 5 million to make the company nationally known and cultivated a top-notch spokesperson who will never switch jobs. Yes, you can question a capitalist's character but never doubt their intelligence, Lin Ziaosu replied. Likewise, you should not doubt Zia Tian's intelligence either. Ding Ryushui's eyes flickered slightly. What do you mean? Lin Ziaosu said, perhaps, I'm just saying perhaps, maybe the dumb appearance we saw today is something he deliberately crafted. Why would he do that? because people have a tendency to instinctively guard against intelligent and shrewd individuals. When encountering a fool, most people also tend to become unalert fools. Ding Ryushui understood that sentence. You mean, we should still stay vigilant about him? Lin Zaiasu didn't answer. He just picked up a tea, took a sip, and watched the sunset. Then, Lei Zioya invited us to go to Yancheng tomorrow. Should we go together with them? Lin Zaiasu smiled faintly. Let's go, but let's skip going together. Mrs. Ding was carrying a tray of fruits upstairs and happened to hear the last of their conversation. She frowned slightly. You're going to Yancheng? Yes. Why go to Yancheng? I heard the SA viral flu is spreading again there. Most of the first and second batches of people sent there by Changsheng Group to observe and learn last time got infected. SA viral flu began 3 years ago as a type of viral flu. Initially, Daxia country was quite nervous about it too. However, as time passed and the virus chain spread, the virus's virulence gradually weakened, no longer posing a lethal threat to humans, so people didn't consider it a big deal anymore, especially the younger generation. Ding Ryushui laughed. Mom really worries too much. Are we even bothered by that? So what if we get infected? Don't the pharmacies in Yancheng have medicine? The next day, the two bought high-speed train tickets online and boarded the train heading to Yancheng. After a 4-hour train journey, they arrived in the afternoon at the most vibrant city in all of Daxia. Yancheng. The vibrancy of Yancheng stems from it being a coastal open city. It has many foreigners. It's a place where exchanges between Eastern and Western cultures are frequent. During the early days of the reform and opening up, it was the window for Daxia people to learn about foreign countries. Nowadays, Daxia constantly showcases Eastern charm, making it a window for foreigners to learn about this ancient and mysterious Eastern country. As soon as Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui stepped off the train, they felt the rush of Yancheng's energy enveloping them. The temperature was at least 5 degrees higher than in Jiangcheng. The coastal and humid climate was very pleasant. People on the streets were already wearing t-shirts. Some even wore summer shorts while engaging in activities in the parks. Traveling by car from the train to the city center, they passed a bay with emerald green sea, white buildings along the coast, low-flying seagulls, and wide open sea that was a feast for the senses. In the next few days, let's enjoy the sea, Ding Ryushui said. She was fond of water and had opened water's secret realm. In the past, most of her free time was spent in the northwest, purely due to Kun Kang's influence. Now, having come specifically to Yancheng to see the jewelry exposition, with 10 days until the opening, she had already arranged her schedule. Sea watching. Lin Zaiasu didn't oppose. In fact, he liked the sea too. The hotel they chose was also along the coast. The hotel wasn't very tall but occupied a large area and was very grand. After checking in, Ding Ryushui didn't express an opinion. Lin Zaiasu registered for one room. Ding Ryushui's eyes shifted. I'm going to take a picture of this room card and send it to my mom. I bet she'll be thrilled. How about you? Are you thrilled? Lin Zaiasu asked her. A bit. Let me say the ugly words first. If you truly want to take the relationship further, you'll need to face a tough decision. All the case handling fees I paid you before, you'll need to return them to me. Oh, then forget it, Lin Zaiasu said. 800,000 bucks can let me have non-stop fun from today until I turn 38. And it's not that the money runs out, but I'd be too old to enjoy it. Ding Ryushui glared at him with her eyes. She glared from the first floor to the third floor. Entering the room, turning on the television, they saw the promotional video for the jewelry exposition. Yancheng loves to host expos, aviation expos, automotive expos, jewelry expos, fully utilizing it as Daxia's window for foreign exchange, hosting all kinds of expos. This is not just a display window, it's also a commodities trade fair. Especially the Aviation Expo, which has become a high-end defense trade fair for Daxia country. Every Aviation Expo comes with astronomical orders. In the past, there was a saying of poor literature and wealthy martial arts, which is more thoroughly demonstrated in today's world. Any weapon transaction is measured in billions. Daxia country's military industry was once in a catching-up role globally, and weapons, even if export restrictions were lifted, were not sought after. But since Daxia country grew stronger, its military industry has become a favorite of many small and medium countries, especially the Middle East region, where the richest princes tend not to ask for the price, but rather how much you can sell. This jewelry exposition may not have the same impact as the air show, but still prepared thoroughly. Promotional videos in the hotel. Overwhelming social media coverage. Even streetlights across the sea have exposition advertisements. After watching TV for a while and playing with their phones, Ding Ryushui suddenly looked up. Zio Ye and the others have arrived too. She invited us for lunch tomorrow. Should we go? It doesn't matter. Go if you want to, Lin Zaiasu said casually as he swipes through short videos. Ding Ryushui smiled. I thought you wouldn't want to see her after the unpleasant meeting yesterday. Lin Zaiasu laughed. Was yesterday unpleasant? I didn't feel anything unpleasant. Well, that's true. The one who embarrassed oneself was Xia Tian. If anyone was unhappy, it should be him, not you. Ding Ryushui happily replied to Lei Zioya, accepting her invitation. Next day, noon, Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui accepted the invitation to Sea Sky Hotel, meeting Lei Zioya in a private room on the second floor. Only Lei Zioya. No Xia Tian. Upon seeing Lin Zaiasu, Lei Zioya dropped the arrogance of 2 days ago and stood up smiling. Zaiasu, Xia Tian was very rude to you the day before yesterday. I apologize. It's nothing. For Ryushui's sake, I won't hold it against him, Lin Zaiasu responded with a smile. That's good. A very luxurious luncheon. They ate 8 courses, each being a signature dish with truly remarkable color, aroma, and taste. Lei Zioya was lively and engaging. Her topics ranged widely from the jewelry exposition to Yangcheng special dishes, the coastal scenery to movie stars, and she knew them all well. As the conversation grew increasingly lively, she suddenly brought up a topic. Zaiasu, there's a place you might be interested in. Want to go have a look? Chapter 349. Chapter 349. Problematic Cold Medicine. Where? Mountain and Sea Club. Mountain and Sea Club, what kind of place is that? Lei Zioya elaborated on the Mountain and Sea Club. The Mountain and Sea Club is a leisure and stress relief venue akin to a game, with its main feature being the use of holographic projections to create various monsters. These monsters are inspired by the mountain and river scripture, a mystical ancient text, and are almost perfectly replicated. The island has been cleverly transformed to resemble an otherworld. Lin Zaiasu was intrigued. Monsters from the mountain and river scripture, replicated one for one. An island crafted into the desolate ancient realm. Even though it's modern technology using holographic projections, in contrast to the real desolate ancient realm, he was still interested in the desolate ancient realm and the exotic beasts from the mountain and river scripture. He had studied this mystical text. It gave him some insights. Now here was someone who seemed to have studied it more deeply than him, and even personally created an island. Who built it? A person named Lin Weiyang, who was a professor at Southern University early on, later ventured into business and amassed a fortune of billions. I heard this club is the culmination of his lifetime wealth and efforts. Seems like a leisure spot, but is actually a professor's lifetime effort. It must be experienced, said Lin Zaiasu. Ding Ryushui said, I also, achoo. She sneezed loudly. Lei Zioya exclaimed, Ryushui, have you caught a cold? Could it be from the SA virus? No worries, Ding Ryushui said. What's the big deal about catching a cold? It's just an ordinary cold. Better take some medicine. The cold symptoms have been quite severe lately. Lei Zioya opened her small bag and took out a sheet of medicine, which was the most commonly used SA-specific medicine on the market. Her finger lightly picked out 2 tablets from the sheet and handed them to Ding Ryushui. And she herself picked out 2 tablets, smiling. I'll take 2 as well. She swallowed them with the tea on the table. Ding Ryushui picked up her teacup, sending the medicine into her mouth. Lin Zaiasu's heart suddenly skipped. The 2 tablets Ding Ryushui placed into her mouth hadn't yet reached her throat when they suddenly vanished into thin air. Ding Ryushui was startled. A flowing sound came to her ears. Don't make a sound. 3 words were secret transmitted into her ear. Ding Ryushui's heart raced. Lin Zaiasu spoke up. What about me? Should I take 2 tablets too? Lei Zioya laughed. What do you think? Unless you're not close with Ryushui, otherwise you'd be the first to spread it. I can only be second at most. Couples kissing is always a must. If one gets SA, the other can hardly avoid it. Lin Zaiasu didn't argue. All right, I'll take 2 tablets as well. He took the sheet from the table, picked out 2 tablets and put them in his mouth, taking a gulp of tea. Zietian is calling me, I have to go. Lei Zioya stood up. In the future, you can directly come here for meals. Zietian owns shares in this hotel and I've already informed them, so just come and eat. No need for that, Ding Ryushui said. We don't even know where we'll be playing next. They bid farewell harmoniously. Back at the hotel, Ding Ryushui's smile completely faded. Zaiasu earlier. Out in the world, never trust others easily, Lin Zaiasu said. Ding Ryushui said, did you discover something? There's no need to discover anything, just stay vigilant. Lin Zaiasu said, if you catch a cold, doesn't the market sell your medicine? A mere box of medicine, can't we afford it? Why should we have to take hers? What's wrong with the medicine? Ding Ryushui's face was extremely serious. Temporarily, there's nothing wrong found, but I can still afford to buy the medicine. Lin Zaiasu said, wait a bit, I'll go get it for you. With that, Lin Zaiasu left the room. He went to the pharmacy outside, chose the same type of medicine, and returned to the room. Ding Ryushui took the medicine. After taking it, Officer Ding felt puzzled. There's a logic that's hard to follow. What? You said when out in the world, be vigilant about what goes into your mouth. I even have to be cautious with my best friends, so why don't I need to be cautious with you? Aren't you an outsider? Of course I'm not an outsider, Lin Zaiasu said. I'm actually your mom's prospective son-in-law. At most, I'll mix some knockout drugs in the medicine to knock you out and then take your maidenhood or something. For your family, that's purely a benefit policy. Ding Ryushui pressed her hand to her forehead, unsure how to respond. She absolutely could not have anticipated that Lin Zaiasu's relaxed demeanor was all an act. Inside, waves were already roaring. How many families keep cold medicine handy? How big a stir can cold medicine actually cause? But those 4 cold tablets bothered him immensely today. Those 4 cold tablets had a problem. And it's a very terrifying problem. Why did he promptly use legendary-level space technique to forcibly withdraw the medicine from Ding Ryushui's mouth? Because he suddenly sensed faint life waves within those 2 tablets. Medicine is just medicine. It can't possibly have life waves. Thus, in that moment, he transformed Ding Ryushui's medicine taking to just drinking water. Until the medicine was brought into his inner space, the heavenly Tao primordial spirit entered it, turning the terrifying sense into an even terrifying reality. Inside the medicine, there was an insect. The insect seemed to be in a dormant state, but a dormant insect is alive. All of Lei Zioya's sheet contained this insect. When he went to the pharmacy earlier, he thoroughly searched the shelves for similar medicine and found the same brand and batch of cold medicine, but there were none inside them. The pharmacy's medicine was normal. The abnormal ones were just the batch in Lei Zioya's hands. Where did she get such medicine? What purpose does she intend to achieve with this medicine? These questions temporarily remained unanswered for Lin Zaiasu. Even didn't know if the 2 tablets Lei Zioya herself swallowed contained any insects. If they did, there are 2 explanations. 1, Lei Zioya herself was unaware of the medicine. 2, she had an antidote. Lin Zaiasu leaned towards the latter. Because Lei Zioya had lingering doubts in his mind, specifically a wedding invitation. An enemy had tailored a murder case for him at the wedding. The precondition was ensuring he arrived at the wedding site. Ding Ryushui was invited by Lei Zioya. Bin's return was also Lei Zioya's news to Ding Ryushui. If the invitation itself held secrets, then Lei Zioya was a subtle yet crucial piece in this scheme. Furthermore, there was an inconclusive confirmation. After they both took the medicine, Lei Zioya naturally took away the sheet. There were several sheets left in the open box, so giving them the open box would have been a normal choice, but she didn't do that. For now, the urgent matter is to ascertain what this insect is in the medicine, what harm it might cause upon consumption. This situation calls for Chang Yi. However, when Lin Zaiasu was about to use Dragon Eye to connect with Chang Yi, he suddenly thought of another person who might be more suitable. Ding Ryushui knew nothing of the thoughts swirling in his mind. She slowly lifted her gaze. Zaiasu, do you have some prejudices against Zioya? That can't really be said, Lin Zaiasu replied. It really shouldn't be, Ding Ryushui said. She's my best friend. My dad and her dad are the chairman and general manager at Changsheng Group, respectively. If there's anyone in the world who deserves trust, it should be her. All right, she deserves your trust, but don't easily use most, Lin Zaiasu said. The person you trust the most should be me. Back to the deadlock my mom wants to pin down. Ding Ryushui sighed softly. Fine, just take me as yours. Don't need to pay back, just one condition. What condition? Fire the two little flowers at your detective agency. Let little Yi whom you keep at home go back. That's my bottom line. I can accept my boyfriend being poor, but I absolutely won't accept him having a bunch of mistresses. Well, let's not. Lin Zaiasu scratched his chin, very troubled. Frankly, under current circumstances, the one who looks most like a mistress, cough cough, is actually you. Scram. Ding Ryushui kicked up a storm. Chapter 350. Chapter 350, Holographic Projection of the Ancient World. The next day, the weather was sunny. The sky was clear, without a single cloud. The waves of the sea displayed the unparalleled grandeur of the world. By the sea, a snow-white building stood hidden among the coconut groves, beautiful and tidy, yet exuding an air of mystery. Because this was the Mountain and Sea Club. The Mountain and Sea Club, a place where wealthy people sought amusement. The membership fee was $500,000 a year. Once you became a member, you could come to the island at any time, 360 days a year, and enjoy unlimited exotic experiences from another world. Of course, non-members were allowed too, but the cost-effectiveness was much lower, at $50,000 per entry. Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui arrived side by side. Entering through the arch gate of the Mountain and Sea Club, a service lady so beautiful she looked almost unreal came to greet them. She really wasn't a real person, she was a robot. The whole place proudly showcased high-tech. As they stepped on the floor ahead, beneath it lay a vast land, making one feel as if walking on clouds. They seemed like experts of the Enlightenment realm walking on air. This experience itself was quite wonderful. And ahead on the left was a sign, storage for valuables. On the right there was also a sign, storage for past cognition. If there were only the sign on the left, it would be ordinary. But with the sign on the right, storage for past cognition, this journey's uniqueness was laid bare. Once you embark on this journey, your past cognition would be of no use. The upcoming journey would overturn all your perceptions. This was what the sign intended to convey. Sir, miss, would you like to become members of our club? The robotic lady sweetly smiled. No need for membership, just a single experience, Lin Zaiasu said. Okay, if you enjoy the experience, you can apply for membership when you come out. Ding Ryushui settled the bill, 2 tickets, 100,000. They received 2 sets of tight clothing. That was all. The two put on the clothes, and once they did, an electronic voice reached their ears. Welcome to the Mountain and Sea Otherworld. Below is the rule explanation. The rules were quite profound, but familiar to Lin Zaiasu. Mostly similar to the Qianlong 101 training ground. Wearing this outfit was akin to attaching various sensors to their bodies. The various holographic exotic beasts, you could interact with them. You could touch these exotic beasts and feel the real sensation. How was the sensation generated? It was the simulated information transmitted to you by the sensors on your body. These exotic beasts could also harm you, and you would feel pain. The pain was also simulated by sensors, with switch adjustments. You could freely choose the level of pain, from 1% to 100%. If an exotic beast was too powerful, it could hunt you, of course. You wouldn't really get killed, but you could genuinely experience all the sensations of being hunted. Ding Ryushui was very excited. Initially, spending 50,000 to watch an 8D movie seemed a bit expensive, but personally experiencing the scenery of the ancient world seems quite worthwhile. Indeed, this is the special hobby of the wealthy, Lin Zaiasu said. The professor in charge here seems yet to be vetted professionally, but clearly understands the psychology of the wealthy. In modern society, the rich have tasted all the delicacies from mountains and seas, already feeling numb. They have played with various beauties, also feeling numb. It's hard to find things to experience, probably only 2 things, one being novelty, the other being the danger of life and death. And this ancient journey of the Mountain and Sea Club included both these elements. Let's go, the two stepped onto the speedboat in front. The speedboat headed all the way to the depths of the South Sea. Over there was a small island associated with this club. The small island had already been transformed into an ancient world. The small boat drifted farther and farther amid the waves. Half an hour later, Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui had approached the small island. In their sight, It was no longer the appearance of the mortal world. The sea was real. The small island was real. The towering ancient trees on the island were real, and the cliffs were real. The floating clouds in the sky were real. However, the giant bird flying in the sky, with wings stretching over 1,000 meters, was a holographic projection. Ahead, a giant beast suddenly raised its head, and it was a holographic projection. With a loud boom, half of a mountain was shattered by a giant claw descending from the sky, and that too was a holographic projection. The virtual and real were blended. The ancient world. Ahead was a valley, and from the valley came sounds of fighting. The gunfire was deafening. They couldn't tell if it was real or virtual for a moment. Looking back, the speedboat behind them had disappeared, and the sea was no longer the same as before. This too was a holographic projection. With a loud boom, the sea suddenly churned up giant waves 100 feet high, and an exotic beast covered in scale armor like a small mountain sprang up from beneath the waves, pouncing towards them. Ancient water beast Zhu Yuan, Lin Ziasu said. One claw can kill in the Enlightenment realm. Damn, Ding Ryushui said. Should we run or fight? Fight. Ding Ryushui moved forward. Water mist enveloped her entirely, and this was real water mist. For her, real water mist was a sharp weapon. Ding Ryushui waved her hand, and the water mist transformed into a water sword. She slashed toward the Zhu Yuan in front. With a light sound of swoosh, Zhu Yuan was split in two. Ding Ryushui was dumbfounded. My god, I killed Zhu Yuan with one sword. I'm even more badass than my master. Lin Ziasu laughed. This setup is only targeted at ordinary people. Do you think this holographic projection-created Zhu Yuan could have much real combat power? It's just for your experience and fun. 50,000 bucks to experience the thrill of killing above the Enlightenment realm, worth it. Ding Ryushui was ecstatic. I feel like I'm going to soar. No sooner had the words fallen, than suddenly giant wings spread across the sky. Ding Ryushui suddenly felt her whole body tighten. What's happening? I feel suppressed. The feeling of suppression is an illusion given by the censor, Lin Ziasu said. Don't you want to soar? Let's soar, sword slash Duzia. Duzia, the ancient four-winged giant beast. The lower wings level mountains and rivers, the upper wings cleave stars and galaxies. They rose into the air, Lin Ziasu at the top, Ding Ryushui at the bottom. Lin Ziasu made a move. A leaf shot out, hitting Duzia right in the head. Below, Ding Ryushui's hair shook, and her hair like blades forcefully broke through Duzia's sharp claws. Under their feet there was no ground, they were just floating in midair. Ding Ryushui exclaimed, the sky beneath is a holographic projection. Indeed, I have to say, my professor not only understands the psychology of the wealthy, but also understands the psychology of cultivators. Slaying Duzia, walking on thin air, even giants of the Enlightenment realm can't experience it. Probably only the super giants in the state of holding can. Therefore the two walked on void air. Beneath them was the mountain and river of the otherworld, recorded only in ancient scriptures. There were mountains and water people and ancient castles. There were exotic beasts lurking in the mountains and forests. In the sky there were also winged beasts wandering. Sun Gu Du Long Kun Yu Li Fang. In a moment, Lin Ziasu saw hundreds of exotic beasts recorded in the mountain and river scripture, each perfectly matching the scripture's description. From shape to detail, from power to special abilities, all perfectly depicted. Not a single deviation. He had to admit, this 50,000 was worth it. It was equivalent to relearning the mountain and river scripture, presenting the dull knowledge points in a novel and fun way right before his eyes, giving him a tangible perception. This professor in the Lin family's door was indeed a genius. Ding Ryushui was also as excited as a monkey. She didn't have much feeling for the mountain and river scripture itself, but she was a person obsessed with cultivation, especially after having walked Kun Kang a few times. She deeply envied the giants of the Enlightenment realm. If she were to cultivate in a conventional way, she would never experience the Enlightenment realm in her lifetime. But spending 50,000 in this gaming environment, she truly experienced the feeling of enlightenment, stepping on a vast expanse, with the world beneath her feet. Encountering ancient strange beasts, slay them with one sword. This truly was the enlightenment experience. Even more exaggerating was that those people in the holographic projection below, in the city, looking at her, their expressions clearly showed they were watching an immortal. These details were vividly portrayed. This directly filled her emotional value to the brim. Supported by this emotional value, she became even more excited. All the way she broke into the valley in front, ancient strange snakes, ancient ferocious beasts, all kinds of unheard-of strange creatures fell in droves under her hands. She felt she had cultivated into an ancient great demon, immensely fierce. Chapter 351. Chapter 351, Ancient Civilization, Wing Blade. Lin Zaiasu also had a similar feeling, however. Lin Zaiasu was much more restrained than her, not like her at all. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, a dark shadow suddenly shot towards him. An environment filled with ancient strange beasts, this shadow seemed not at all out of place. As for size, it was about the size of a real person. As for form, it was merely a birdman. But its speed was truly terrifying. Even though Lin Zaiasu's eyesight was unparalleled in the world, as soon as he saw this birdman, the birdman was already in front of him. Its wings turned to one side, the wings like sharp blades, slicing towards his throat. This speed comparable to the speed of sound. Lin Zaiasu's reaction was unbelievably fast, suddenly sidestepping. With a soft hissing sound, the birdman's razor-sharp left wing grazed past his shoulder. Lin Zaiasu's whole body trembled violently. He saw a piece of torn clothing. He also felt a chill on his shoulder. This was not a holographic creation. This was real. Ding Ryushui laughed. A mere birdman dares to act recklessly. Fall for me, you little thing. She stepped lightly, pouncing towards the birdman from the side. Today she had killed countless exotic beasts, already so swollen with pride she couldn't tell north from south. Seeing such a small thing, naturally she wouldn't take it seriously. However, just as she was about to get close, behind her came a loud shout from Lin Zaiasu, "Move away." Accompanying the shout, a disc flew out from behind her, spinning rapidly to slash towards the birdman. This was the Earthfall Beast scale that Lin Zaiasu carried with him, using the Dakongshuan technique to fly slice. Thud! The Earthfall Beast scale struck the birdman accurately, but the scale shattered. The birdman was hit by this blow, changing direction. At such high speeds, even a slight change in direction makes the target miss by a mile. It streaked past Ding Ryushui. With the inertia, in an instant it was several hundred meters away. Lin Zaiasu's expression changed. He knew how hard the Earthfall Beast scale was. This scale, infused with his current cultivation, sliced using the Dakongshuan technique. Even a steel rod the thickness of an arm could be cut in half. However, the shell of this birdman wasn't even scratched, and the Earthfall Beast scale shattered on impact. This was a situation he had never encountered before. Ding Ryushui's expression also changed. "What is this monster?" "Take off your clothes," Lin Zaiasu responded. "What?" Ding Ryushui was surprised. "Take off clothes? What the hell are you thinking? If it were in a hotel, I would know what you meant by taking off clothes, but in the wilderness, are you playing too wild?" "What are you thinking?" Lin Zaiasu said. "Immediately exit the projection state." Ding Ryushui abruptly raised her hand. Tear. The clothes she wore ripped in half. As soon as her clothes were torn, her surroundings changed drastically. The mountains were still the same mountains. The land was still the same land. However, within the mountains, there were no longer the dazzling lights and fairy illusions. The sky was devoid of the omnipresent various monsters. Without these, this land was no longer in the ancient world, reverting to the real world. However, that birdman was still there. It turned its wings to one side, drawing a graceful arc, its speed suddenly increasing, flying back from 300 meters away in the sky. Its speed was so fast, it was almost at the limit of the naked eye. Ding Ryushui's expression changed. She had already taken off the game equipment, cut off the interactive holographic projection state. Those monsters generated through holographic projections no longer existed. But this thing was still there. This implies what? This implies this thing wasn't a holographic projection. It was something that really existed. What kind of robot is this? Why is its speed so fast? No matter what it is, take it down first. Ding Ryushui suddenly took a step forward. In front of her was a pool of water. As she stepped into the pool, the entire surface of the water suddenly stirred. With a light booming sound, the pond water surged up. And just at this moment, the birdman, almost invisible to the naked eye, came skimming over the water's surface, passing through the surging pond water. As it passed through, The intangible and formless pond water seemed to become tens of thousands of soft ropes, tightly binding the high-speed birdman. Boom! The entire pond water rose from its surface. Ding Ryushui, at this moment, used the secret realm of water in her body to connect with this pond water. She also became a part of the pond water. As the water left the pond, she also rose from the ground, crashing towards the mountain peak behind her. The fact proved, even though Ding Ryushui exposed her biggest trump card, fully exerting the power of the secret realm within her, she still couldn't stop the terrifying impact of this birdman. Because its speed was truly terrifying. Speed generates power. However, after canceling each other out, the birdman's speed was effectively reduced. But Ding Ryushui was still carried by the terrifying shockwave of the wing blade, crashing towards the cliff behind her. She felt an extreme sense of suffocation. It seemed as if all her body's meridians were fitted with springs, all stretched to the extreme. This was a shackle of using the secret realm of water. The secret realm of water, its effects are miraculous. It can form a shield using the power of water. But when the attack intensity exceeds the limit, the shield will also break. And once the shield breaks, all the body's meridians will be dispersed. Today, am I going to end it here? Have I ultimately destroyed myself because of this unworthy boyfriend? Just when Ding Ryushui's thoughts started to wander, a figure suddenly appeared above the birdman. His hand raised. The 5 elements sword in his palm lifted vertically. This lift, as if supporting a giant mountain. One sword slashed down. Li Ren's swordsmanship's second move, severing a motion. Boom! The sword struck the birdman's head, which was eerily human-like. The birdman, hit by this heavy blow, tumbled down from the sky, the first half trajectory completely scrambled, almost crashing into the ground. Suddenly, its wings flapped, skimming close to the earth. Gliding over the cliff, wobbling as it slid across the sea's surface, splash. It plunged into the ocean. Lin Zaiasu flipped in the air and landed on the cliff. Just as Ding Ryushui was about to crash into the cliff, the water flow in front of her suddenly reversed, moving behind her. The water flow washed over the cliff. She used the water as a cushion, gently and quietly slid down, landing beside Lin Zaiasu. Though she was ultimately unharmed, her face was still very pale. What is that thing? Wing blade, Lin Zaiasu said. 9-headed snake's ace in the hole. What? Ding Ryushui was shocked. She was shocked by the 3 words 9-headed snake. And Lin Zaiasu was shocked by the wing blade itself. He was opposed to the 9-headed snake. Whatever the 9-headed snake dispatched to deal with him, he could accept. Even if they sent a long line of assassins, he would feel it was necessary. However, how could a wing blade be compared to an ordinary assassin? Not everyone knew about the wing blade, but he did. The wing blade was 9-headed snake's strongest killing move, almost unrivaled. This was a robot with a legendary aura. It wasn't a product of modern technology. It was an artifact from ancient ruins, made with a special metal called vibrating silver, not synthesized from Earth's minerals, suspected to be alien metal. Under current technological conditions, nothing can destroy it. Its power source is a mystery, suspected to be a technological relic from a previous civilization. If there has always been controversy over whether a previous technological civilization existed, the wing blade's unearthing, in fact, confirms the existence of a previous technological civilization. Wing blade has stealth capabilities, undetectable by any radar. Wing blade crosses borders, hunts critical targets, never failing within the Qianlong team. Many have died under the wing blade. No one has ever been able to harm the wing blade. The most tragic record is on the Dragon Eye accessible Qianlong Martyr's steel, recorded a person former gold medal number 49. A woman, she directly hugged the wing blade, detonated the high explosive on her body, leaving not a complete bone, but that wing blade was merely knocked off course, with no damage at all. The entire Qianlong was extremely sensitive to the wing blade. Everyone said, fortunately, the 9-headed snake only had 4 wing blades. Fortunately, the wing blade's energy was limited if they could be mass-produced, or if energy were unlimited, no one could stop the 9-headed snake. 4 wing blades, even worldwide 7 continents couldn't each get one, and yet one was sent specifically to kill him. Lin Zaiasu, speaking of how fortunate it truly is. Suddenly, Lin Zaiasu abruptly raised his head, a look of astonishment on his face. Chapter 352. Chapter 352, Junior Disciples of the White-Clothed King. On the cliff in front, 2 men dressed in white appeared. One on the left, one on the right. They were both wearing a white t-shirt, and as the sea breeze rose, their hair flew. One had a rugged face, the other a refined face. Yet in this moment, a shared trait was displayed on this island. Contentment. Yes, contentment. Linzai, finally we meet, said the rugged-faced man in white. He's Yuomeng Wanglubin, what do you two want? Linzai asked calmly. The rugged man He's Yuomeng was slightly taken aback. You know us. Under the De Rai Zioao temple, 5 disciples wandered overseas. I read every one of your files, Linzai replied. After Luziushu, the white-clothed king, was exposed, the remaining 4 of you could have been cleared of suspicion. Why would you come today and fall into the trap? This sentence announced something. The 2 people who came were fellow disciples of Luziushu, the white-clothed king. On that day, he analyzed the 5 wandering overseas disciples in detail with the Blood Trace King, and found that each one considered a potential candidate for the white-clothed king. But once the true white-clothed king was revealed, the suspicion of the other 4 was cleared. Because the headquarters has a special reward order, as long as we kill you, Linzai, we can succeed as the white-clothed king. Wang Lubin laughed elegantly from behind. Linzai laughed heartily. I killed your white-clothed king. Anyone who kills me can inherit the title of the new white-clothed king. That 9-headed snake has such a reward order isn't strange at all, but what I find strange is what makes you all think you can kill me. Wang Lubin slowly moved his hand forward from behind, and in his palm was a small bottle. He had a faint smile on his face. Do you smell a fragrance? That's the crime your nose committed. At this moment, he stood at the upwind position. Linzai indeed smelled a fragrance. Ding Ryushui's face changed drastically, raised her hand to cover her mouth and nose. It's poisonous. Haha, it's too late. Actually, covering your mouth and nose won't help this scent. Swoosh. On the other side, He's Yuomeng suddenly moved his feet, stretched out his hand, and a pointed cone stabbed straight towards Linzai forehead. The pointed cone rotated at high speed. This was also the deconstruent of De Raizao Temple. However, it wasn't the kind that released out of hand for enemy killing from afar, but rather converted into a form whereby the pointed cone rotated and turned deconstruent into a close combat weapon. Wang Lubin's face sank. Good, He's Yuomeng. I was just initiating a crucial step for the kill, and you immediately acted, wanting to kill him first and claim the glory for killing Linzai yourself. His fingers flicked, and a ring shot out towards the back of Linzai head. The 2 surrounded him, both aiming at Linzai with a clear rivalry for merit. In their knowledge, Linzai was destined to die, and only the distinction remained as to who would kill him first. However, something happened beyond their expectations. Linzai hand suddenly lifted, thud. A sword that struck later, but arrived first, accurately pierced through He's Yuomeng's right chest. Where lies the weak point of the great Sun Ziyu skill's cultivation technique. Once pierced, all cultivation would be abolished. He's Yuomeng's eyes widened, looking at Linzai ahead in disbelief. At this moment, Wang Lubin's ring also reached the back of Linzai head. Linzai didn't even turn his head, stretched his left hand back, and this rapidly rotating ring was suddenly positioned on his fingertips. Swoosh! The ring reflected back. Wang Lubin staggered, clutched his right chest, stared at Linzai completely incredulous. Linzai smiled. In terms of cultivation alone, you're much lesser than Luziushu. I truly wonder what made you come forth to die relying on. Suddenly, with a splash, a shadow jumped up from the sea below. Linzai suddenly turned his head, and what was carried by the seawater was, surprisingly, wing blade. And its speed instantly reached its peak. Linzai sword in hand suddenly stood vertically, all cultivation instantaneously pushed to the maximum. However, wing blade suddenly tilted. Swoosh! In barely an instant, wing blade swept across like a blade. Wang Lubin and He's Yuomeng's heads flew up. Wing blade zipped through the air, boom. A sonic boom burst forth, and in the next instant, wing blade vanished without a trace. He's Yuomeng and Wang Lubin's headless body slowly fell. Wing blade penetrated the clouds and was already gone. Ding Ryushui stared mutely at the sky. Linzai stretched out his hand, and Wang Lubin's small bottle vanished into thin air, his face clouded with changing expressions. Ding Ryushui's voice came from the ear, little Su that, wing blade. Don't worry, it won't come back. Linzai gaze lifted. How can you be sure it won't come back? To be frank, Ding Ryushui was scared by Wing Blade. Never had she imagined she'd be frightened by a robot. These days, robot technology is very mature, with all sorts of categories and types. There are combat robots, work robots, even entertainment robots that can replace women. But be it genetic masters or cultivation experts, none truly treat robots as dangerous because a robot, after all, is a machine, lacking the adaptivity of a volatile battlefield. In front of real masters, an isolated robot is merely food. But today she found herself entirely overturned. Because she suddenly discovered, with just two things, this wing blade can pose a fatal threat to them. Firstly, its own defense has no flaw. Secondly, its speed is incredible. The former ensures it stands in invincible ground. The latter gives it the ability to kill masters. Lin Zaiasu said, because its energy source has had problems. Energy source had problems, how do you know? Its flight path is chaotic. That sword of yours earlier harmed its core. Ding Ryushui's eyes flickered with glints. Actually, she had a great point of suspicion internally. Before Lin Zaiasu drew his sword, she didn't even know he was carrying such a long sword. Where did he hide it? However, compared to the current crisis, this doesn't seem to be a matter that must be clarified. She chose to overlook it and confront the most crucial core. It wasn't my sword alone, it was our combined strike. Lin Zaiasu smiled. This statement was partly true and partly false. The true part was the two did jointly withstand an assault from Wing Blade. Without Ding Ryushui's restraint, Lin Zaiasu amid such high speed from Wing Blade might not even have the chance to run his cultivation power at full strength, to issue the flawless state of severing emotion. The false part was, the true damage caused to Wing Blade was still by his strike, severing emotion. Severing emotion, the most forceful strike in Li Ren swordsmanship. What weighed heavily wasn't the sword itself, but the inner strength as vast as mountains. This inner strength could penetrate through the opponent's solid outer armor and destroy its core. Though Wing Blade's internal structure was equally indestructible, Lin Zaiasu couldn't truly destroy it, but he did shake it. For a machine intricately constructed, any jolt to internal components would cause the machine to malfunction. Wing Blade had malfunctioned, though it seemed it could still kill and fly at the speed of sound. Yet under Lin Zaiasu's heavenly Tao wisdom eye, he precisely captured the imperfection in the flight path. This was evidence of core damage. Another evidence was what it did. It killed two people on its own side. If it still possessed the power to fight, killing Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui could take the two away as well. It didn't choose to take them away but committed murder to eliminate traces, also showing the machine or the controller behind it knew it had no chance. In terms of these battle experiences, Ding Ryushui barely had any, but she wasn't stupid. She accepted Wing Blade wouldn't come back. She accepted the crisis had passed. She sighed in relief. Little Sue, doesn't this situation feel very strange? Chapter 353. Chapter 353, The Mystery of Poisoning. Are you referring to those two people in the back? Their actual combat strength is actually far inferior to Wing Blade. Yes. According to the principles of enemy assassination, the second wave of attack should be stronger than the first wave. But they did the opposite. The first wave of attack was strong, the second wave weak. The first wave failed, yet the second wave continued, easily costing two lives. Were they out of their minds? If only based on their skills, they were indeed out of their minds, Lin Zaiasu said, but was the second wave reliant on skills? That's what I can't understand the most. Ding Ryushui said, the second wave of attack is poison, but this poison, is it really poison? I don't feel any signs of poisoning and obviously you don't either. Would they really make such a big mistake? Finally got a chance to use poison but picked up the wrong bottle. Who knows, maybe the nine-headed snake people also make some amateurish mistakes, Lin Zaiasu said. Ding Ryushui glanced at the two headless bodies on the ground, lost in thought. Lin Zaiasu's eyes were turbulent. Ding Ryushui's question was something Ding Ryushui couldn't figure out. Lin Zaiasu had an answer. A very horrifying answer. The set of continuous murder strategies set by the opponent wasn't a joke, but a very perfect plan. The poison was very effective, and they definitely didn't pick the wrong bottle. However, this poison had a key point. In fact, the key point had deviated. What is this key point? It's the 2 pills of cold medicine they took yesterday. If they had taken these 2 cold pills, today's outcome would be completely different. All of the opponent's plans would proceed smoothly like textbook scenarios. Why? Because Lin Zaiasu was conducting an experiment in inner space. He peeled open a cold pill, revealing the worm inside. This worm had a sharp head, with fleshy scales on its body, extremely bizarre, yet it seemed quite docile as it didn't move much. However, when it smelled the scent of the bottle, it underwent an inconceivable transformation. The worm suddenly shook violently, twisting frantically. After a twist, it turned into a drop of pus. Just this twist made Lin Zaiasu's heart rate double. Let's just say if he and Ding Ryushui had taken the medicine and smelled this aroma, the dormant worms in their body suddenly erupted, causing such commotion in their stomach or intestines no person could endure. Under such circumstances, do you still want to have combat strength? Even if the opponent is a scoundrel, you'd still die. What's more, these two disciples from De Rai Zayao Temple aren't really scoundrels. Their combat strength is only a line away from the past white-clothed king, Lu Xiushu. This is the real kill trick of the second assassination. This is actually a seamless murder scheme. The only thing they miscalculated was that they didn't foresee Lin Zaiasu would see through what seemed to be a very ordinary, cold medicine intake. That cold medicine was completely identical to those bought on the market, even having a legitimate batch number. The cold medicine came from Ding Ryushui's close friend. And it happened right after Ding Ryushui sneezed. At the same time, it was precisely when the SA cold virus frequently appeared in Yancheng. If it were another person, such trivial things as taking cold medicine would be as mundane as drinking a glass of water when thirsty. Perhaps only one person in the whole world would rewrite this unusual process, and that person is Lin Zaiasu, because he has the heavenly Tao primordial spirit. He has a pair of discerning eyes. He practices the rejuvenation secret technique handed down from life law. He also possesses space law, allowing him to silently lift the pill already in his mouth, letting the person who set the trap watch as if it happened, can securely lock this key point. Then make further plans based on this key point. Lin Zaiasu finally drew the attention of the nine-headed snake, making a move without hesitation, decisive to the extreme. Wing Blade, the ultimate weapon of the last civilization, nine-headed snake's trump card. The poisoning process was inconceivable. The chosen location was also inconceivable. Above the sky, a flying car came breaking the air. Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui both looked up. The flying car landed in front of them, the car door opened, and two people pushed a wheelchair down from the car. These two people, a man and a woman, were both genetic people. Their faces were clouded over, and there was a hint of panic. The person in the wheelchair was an extremely refined middle-aged man, appearing to be only in his 30s or 40s, but his eyes carried the weight of centuries. "Mr. Lin, Miss Ding, are you all right?" The female genetic person spoke. Professor Lin just heard about the incident on the island and rushed over immediately. "Professor Lin, are you the one who created the Mountain and Sea Club?" Lin Zaiasu focused his gaze on the wheelchair. "I am Lin Weiyang," the middle-aged man in the wheelchair said. "Since establishing the Mountain and Sea Club, such vicious incidents have never occurred. Wing Blade breach, members openly assassinating, completely losing bottom line. Mr. Lin, Miss Ding, rest assured, this matter is not just about you. It happened in my territory. It is also my affair. I will mobilize all my networks to investigate thoroughly, all involved. I will dig out and send them to the police." Professor Lin knows about Wing Blade. "Yes. These two are also your members." Lin Zaiasu pointed to the two headless bodies on the ground. The heads were actually there, just in the grass. Lin Weiyang sighed gently. "Mountain and Sea Club membership is processed just by paying. This is certainly a business necessity, however. It inevitably attracts some ill-intentioned people. It seems necessary to carry out some screening and reinvestigation. Paying for membership, almost all clubs operate under this business model. As for the backgrounds of these members, indeed it's difficult to verify." Lin Zaiasu said. "You can't be blamed for this, Professor Lin." "Mr. Lin is truly magnanimous, thank you," Lin Weiyang said. "No matter what, Mr. Lin and Miss Ding came to my club, yet encountered such a crisis, I feel uneasy about it." Zio he. Professor's command. The beautiful genetic person beside him stepped forward. Lin Weiyang said, "Refund their tickets double and also grant them lifetime membership." "Understood." Lin Zaiasu smiled. "Professor is being generous." "This is only right," the professor said. "Mr. Lin, Miss Ding, please get in the flying car. I'll personally take you back." "All right." They boarded the flying car. The male genetic person stayed behind, cooperating with the staff who had just arrived by speedboat to handle the aftermath. The female genetic person pushed Lin Weiyang, accompanying Lin Zaiasu and Ding Ryushui into the flying car. As the flying car took off, Ding Ryushui received a refund for the Mountain and Sea Club tickets, 200,000. Double refund. Lin Zaiasu seemed to have all unpleasantness dispelled, received the fragrant tea handed by the female genetic person Ziohe, and looked towards Lin Weiyang. I heard Professor Lin spent 13 years and billions of dollars creating this Miao realm. Is it really out of a commercial purpose? Lin Weiyang smiled lightly. Does a person with $1 billion really have interest in making more money? Some say the richer one gets, the more they pursue money indefatigably, but I believe many times they're merely swept along by money. Their fundamental intent is not for money itself. Lin Zaiasu said. Therefore, I still feel Professor Lin has other considerations. Chapter 354. Chapter 354, The Master of Mountains and Seas, Lin Weiyang. Lin Weiyang slowly lifted his gaze. The ancient wilderness is about to breach the realm, and the vast majority of people in this world remain apathetic. I can hardly imagine the chaos we might face when confronted with unheard-of creatures from the other world, and scenes that defy imagination. Hence, with my modest effort, I've built this viewing platform to awaken numbed awareness. I also hope our warriors will find ways to counter the exotic beasts during battles against them. Lin Zaiasu respectfully expressed admiration. Professor Lin is truly considerate. I am impressed. Being considerate is indeed true, but in the face of an overthrowing tide, my efforts might just seem like a joke. Lin Weiyang bitterly smiled and said, Beyond awakening and countering, I sincerely hope to find fellow travelers on this road. I am somewhat familiar with Mr. Lin's situation, and I wonder if you'd be willing to exchange more with me. I would be more than willing. Lin Weiyang laughed. Today, unforeseen events occurred. There's a lot going on, making it inconvenient for us to communicate. How about we set a date and you come to visit my Yuishan residence? Sounds good. How about after the exhibition? Then it's settled. I'll be waiting for you at Bai Shan residence on April 16th. Upon returning to the Mountain and Sea Club, Lin Weiyang wanted to arrange a car to send them back to the hotel, but Lin Zaiasu declined, stating he planned to wander about, so he went for a walk along the seaside with Ding Ryushui. The sea breeze was light, the sea breeze was gentle. As the gentle sea breeze blew past, the tense and suffocating state of the two seemed to truly be alleviated by the wind. Let me ask you something. Ding Ryushui's voice flowed like water into Lin Zaiasu's ear, a secret transmission. Speak, Lin Zaiasu also transmitted secretly. Do you trust Lin Weiyang? I have no reason not to trust him. No reason not to trust him. We almost died in his club. Isn't that reason enough? Lin Zaiasu said. The wing blade broke through the national boundary and no one could discover it, let alone just a lonely island overseas. And as for the two remnants from De Rai Zaiao Temple, they were just members. They are all the bosses. As long as Lin Weiyang is not an immortal, he cannot control the members. After the incident, his response was quick, his sincerity commendable, and don't forget, you just earned 100,000 bucks. 100,000 bucks is just a joke, Ding Ryushui said. I don't trust him anyway. I suggest you don't trust him either. I didn't say I trust him, I said. I have no reason not to trust him. Is there a difference between the two? The difference is quite substantial, Lin Zaiasu said. When it comes to the issue of trust, I also need to give you some advice. What is it? For your upcoming trip to Yancheng, don't trust anyone. Remember, I mean, anyone. My upcoming trip, not our, Ding Ryushui sensitively grasped a word. Yes, I am leaving, temporarily, Lin Zaiasu said. If you're willing to leave, you can first return to Jiangcheng. If you're not willing to leave, then stay, but your girlfriend over there, don't go near her, not even a step. This sentence thoroughly clarified everything. Ding Ryushui stood still in the wind. Little Su, tell me honestly, what did you discover? Lin Zaiasu extended his hand, placed it on her shoulder and looked into her eyes. Ryushui, people in this world are the most complex beings. You treat people with sincerity, but it doesn't necessarily mean others will treat you with the same sincerity. You think you are just yourself and have no points others might covet, yet you are not simply yourself. You have things on you covetable by others, understand? Ding Ryushui stared blankly at him. Like you, do you have any schemes for me? What are the scheming points? Damn, Lin Zaiasu released his hand and turned to leave, his voice coming from afar. My scheme for you at most is to persuade you onto the bed. Believe me, compared to other schemes, this is the sincerest scheme. Ding Ryushui bit her lip. You dare not persuade. Why run? I travel with you, ditching me to act alone. What does that count as? What will my mom think? Lin Zaiasu had already left. Ding Ryushui, after all, is not a naive girl. Some things just need to be hinted, and she'll understand. Concerning her girlfriend's previous actions against them, Lin Zaiasu hadn't mentioned. Just because of one reason, this matter is too grave. If the grass is startled, the consequences are utterly uncontrollable. To ensure that the conclusion is controllable, there's only one way. First, figure out what exactly the bug is. Moreover, one needs to find a way to control this bug. Where in the world could this solution be found? Perhaps there's only one place. Lin Zaiasu boarded the high-speed train, heading to the southwest. Given the population of over 10 million in Yangcheng, he just left like that. Southwest Taichung is more beautiful than last year. Because at this moment, it is the most beautiful season of the year. Spring is warm, flowers bloom, all life thriving. Even the most remote small mountain village is blooming in the colors of life, let alone Taichung, known for its botanical ambience worldwide. Lin Zaiasu got off the high-speed train and rode one of Taichung's not unique, but rather popular shared electric bikes through the spring, came to a mall and bought some gifts. A bottle of wine, a piece of fresh tenderloin of fish, 2 sets of clothes. Carrying the items, he stepped out, raised a hand to hail a taxi, to Wushan Mountain. The driver's gaze passed through the rearview mirror and noticed his gifts. Young man, going to the mother-in-law's place. Yes, Lin Zaiasu replied with a smile. Congratulations, young man. Girls from Wushan Mountain are genuine at heart, unlike women from the outside world. These days, women from outside have turned bad. Some say it's capital that brainwashed them. Well, I'd say, what power does capital have to brainwash? It merely tore away people's sense of shame and steamed out the inherent longing for effortless gain. Lin Zaiasu laughed and said, the driver truly sees things clearly, a victim of bad women in this world too. What are you saying? I was talking about others. I am different. The driver spoke about his life, eyes gleaming. He was a disabled person, his right leg shorter, congenitally handicapped. Originally, someone like him couldn't have found a wife, but heaven provided as he found the best woman in the world. His wife was both deaf and mute, yet she always had a smile, washed his clothes till they sparkled, cleaned the house thoroughly, even if he returned from driving late at night. Once the headlights of the car hit the outside wall, his wife would open the door and within 2 minutes bring him hot food. He ate at the table, his wife nearby watching with her chin resting on her hand. At that moment, he felt that even if he traveled to the ends of the earth, even with his whole body aching, it was all worthwhile. Oh, he also had a son. The little guy was mischievous, climbing the roof to take tiles, catching shrimps in rivers, occasionally playing pranks and tearing down neighbors' walls, but although he struggled with studies, he was a good kid overall. Listening to the driver's continuous storytelling, observing the smile on his face, Lin Zaiasu felt his own heart seemingly becoming pure. Human happiness, you see, has nothing to do with what abilities you have, nor with your wealth. How many in this world live in endless comparison? They think the wife is better elsewhere, the house is better elsewhere, life is better elsewhere. The handicapped brother before him. His wife is the best, his son is the best. With such understanding, he is the happiest person. The taxi arrived at Wushan Mountain Primary School. Lin Zaiasu got off carrying a big package. Crossing the entrance of Wushan Mountain Primary School, his gaze landed on the school again. He didn't see Little Moon and Hu Dai in front of him. But through time-space reversal, he saw them. Chapter 355. Chapter 355. Soul Gu in Cold Medicine. This morning under the flagpole, Little Moon fell, and Hu Dai helped her up. Little Moon looked at her and smiled, and there was a clear hint of a smile in Hu Dai's eyes too. The world outside is in turmoil, changing drastically every day. But in Hu Dai's world, it is a constant cycle of winter passing into spring, reflecting the calmness and tranquility of time. Lin Zaiasu was somewhat puzzled. Could it be that Hu Dai was aware of his attempt to win her over? If not, why hadn't this piece been moved? Things need to be considered from both sides. Not being utilized might also be a good thing. At least in Little Moon's view, she absolutely hopes that her current life will continue until the end of her days. With a few emotions in his heart, Lin Zaiasu set foot on the path to the inner village. The tea garden was just as it was. The mountain forest just as it was, the cliff ahead just as it was, and when he rounded a corner, the thousand-year-old Miao village appeared, just as it was. Perhaps time in the mountains passes very slowly. But as he got closer, Lin Ziasu's heartbeat silently accelerated. This time, he didn't plan to quietly take Yixiang away like the last time. He wanted to visit openly because what he needed to do was important, and sneaking around was, after all, troublesome. That was one reason. And the second, he couldn't build happiness on Yixiang's troubles. If he quietly whisked her away, Yixiang would surely cooperate. The process would definitely be exciting, perhaps even more thrilling than doing it openly. But it would be very hard for her. Upon entering the thousand-year-old Miao village, Lin Ziasu did not look around, but he was well aware that many eyes were fixed on his face, his head, his back, and the large bag he was carrying. There were also many discussions that hadn't ceased since he arrived at the village entrance. This handsome guy is really handsome. Whose relative is he? Is he here for a matchmaking visit? Fourth sister, why don't you go talk to him, maybe? Lin Ziasu walked over, passed by the pond, and arrived outside Yixiang's yard wall. It's necessary to admit that visiting a super-large village requires a strong mental fortitude. But it must also be admitted that Lin Ziasu had an overwhelming mental fortitude. He opened Yixiang's small courtyard with the basic understanding that if he wasn't embarrassed, it was someone else's turn to be embarrassed. Yes, the courtyard door was not locked, just ajar. Upon entering the small courtyard, he lifted his gaze and saw the tree in the courtyard. This tree is terrifying in this season. The tender branches swaying in the wind truly looked like a tree full of snakes. This is the characteristic of this tree. In spring, branches and leaves resemble snakes, and by summer, real snakes would come, gathering various toxins. By autumn, the tree would bear fruit, naturally capable of neutralizing these snake venoms. Based on the color and texture of the fruit, Miao doctors would know which fruit corresponds to which poisonous snake, and people bitten by snakes within a 10-mile radius could use this fruit for treatment. Its effect is miraculous. This is a gift from nature, a creation of nature, and also a legacy of a generation of witch gods for the descendants. Hearing sounds in the courtyard, two women came out from the ancient house. Yixiang and her mother. As soon as Yixiang saw the person in the courtyard, her face turned red instantly. The basin in her hands nearly dropped, but she hurriedly clutched it tightly. Her mother, who didn't appear human that day, had completely transformed, gained some weight, and regained a bit of grace. At this moment, her eyes were wide open. "Auntie, I'm Lin Ziasu, we've met before." Lin Ziasu greeted with a smile, speaking in Miao language. Mother's lips quivered slightly. "Auntie, I came specifically to see you." Lin Ziasu raised his hand, offering the bag. Both bags were quite heavy. Yixiang took them, breaking the ice. "Why did you bring any gifts?" "They're just some daily necessities that didn't cost much," Lin Ziasu said. "Auntie, I bought you 2 sets of clothes too, but I don't know if they'll fit." Yixiang opened the bag and took out the clothes. "Mother, look." Mother's eyes followed the clothes, turning them over 3 times, while Yixiang's entire body tensed. This little rascal caught everyone off guard today. He actually came straight to the house. "I'm about to have a heart attack." "Mother, you ought to say something. He's laid his cards on the table, now it's your turn." Taking a pole would bring everything to a standstill for all of us. "Don't pick a pole." Mother sighed deeply. "Come in and sit, I'll make you dinner." Her words ended, and she turned to go inside. Every cell in Yixiang's body burst into song. Her eyes on Lin Ziasu were about to sparkle. "Brother, why are you here?" Her voice was light with a slight tremble. "I missed you, is that okay?" Yixiang blossomed completely, her eyes flowing like honey. "Brother, come in." Entering the living room, it was somewhat dark, but little Hu, the small white cat at the door, jumped in, bringing more dynamics to the gloom. Lin Ziasu extended his hand. "Little Hu, come for a hug." Little Hu's lively demeanor suddenly changed. Just as it entered the house, it turned around, showing him its little rear. "Oh, come on, are you serious? I must hug you." Lin Ziasu stepped forward and picked it up from behind. Little Hu's big, round eyes looked at Yixiang, who gave it a warning glance which it received, resulting in no struggling, accepting Lin Ziasu's embrace. Even when being turned over, it recognized it. This expression of injustice and acceptance amused Lin Ziasu to laughter. Yixiang laughed too. She brought him tea, accompanying the setting sun. Yixiang, there's something very important this time. Lin Ziasu shifted his gaze from little Hu to Yixiang. What? Yixiang's heart skipped slightly. Could it be that brother wanted to formally finalize that matter with mother? There's a kind of worm, very much like a goo. Lin Ziasu raised his hand, revealing a pill. I want you to identify it for me. At his words, the myriad distracting thoughts in Yixiang's mind disappeared instantly, replaced by caution. Is the worm inside the pill? Yes. Wait a moment. Yixiang reached over, taking a glass bottle from the table beside her, and carefully opened the pill to reveal the sleeping worm inside. Yixiang's face suddenly changed. Life soul goo. Is it really a goo? Yes, this is an extremely vicious type of goo in Myojiang, originating from the corpse goo lineage. Gushin was an active practitioner of this type of goo back then, Yixiang said. Brother, how could this goo be inside the pill? This is extremely dangerous. It's a long story, I'll explain later. First tell me, how does this goo harm people? Lin Ziasu was also very excited. His little sweetheart proved capable, instantly identifying the origin of this goo worm. Yixiang explained. Life soul goo, extremely dangerous and sinister. Its danger lies in that once it enters the body, it can enter the bloodstream and flow to the brain, where it resides. It can lie dormant in the brain for over a decade. Its sinister nature is in its ability to secrete an analgesic that deceives the body. Once in the bloodstream, a person feels no pain. It traverses the bloodstream unnoticed, and entering the brain, it lies dormant without detection, secreting a peculiar stimulant that might even make a person think their mind is exceptionally sharp. However, this is merely its dormant state. Once activated, it would unleash all its energy in the brain, thoroughly destroying a person's brain. Lin Ziasu's heart raced. How does it activate its energy? Vibration. Its scales will produce a strange vibration. Don't be fooled by its small size. Once it vibrates, the frequency is very high. The human brain's interior is extremely fragile, not able to withstand such vibration. Just one is enough to turn a person's brain into mush. And then a very peculiar transformation occurs. It will undergo corpse dissection. Chapter 356. Chapter 356. Returning to Conch Valley. Corpse dissection. Yixiang nodded gently. Yes, it will melt entirely, turning into a drop of pus, indistinguishable from human brain matter, so when the life soul goo kills, even the most elite forensic experts can find no trace of its existence. Lin Ziasu's heart surged with great waves. Everything matched exactly with what she described, including the vibration after the worm was stimulated and the pus that formed afterward. This goo placed in cold medicine is precisely the life soul goo. Undoubtedly. Lin Ziasu asked, do you know how to stimulate it? I know. I can make this stimulating potion, but brother, this potion can't be concocted lightly. If anyone is infected by this goo, just having this potion in front of them can easily take their life with the activation of the life soul goo. Lin Ziasu gently raised his hand, and a small vial appeared in his palm. Someone has already made it. Take a look. The small vial was passed to Yixiang's hands. The first thing Yixiang did was seal the glass vial. Then she opened the small vial. A refreshingly pleasant fragrance filled the air. Yixiang took a deep breath. This medicine uses the mandala flower as the core material. The mandala flower, said to be between life and death, is the main ingredient to activate this strange poison. Her voice abruptly stopped because there was a sudden commotion in the glass vial. The goo worm was instantly activated, vibrating all over, twisting its body, dashing up and down inside the vial like a startled snake. Oh no, the vial isn't sealed tightly enough. Yixiang became anxious. It's okay, I still have this pill. Lin Ziasu pressed his hand on the coffee table, feeling the mysterious vibrations. Even through a glass vial, he could vaguely feel the worm's vibration. It was terrifying. The vibration of the goo worm was just a moment. In the next instant, under the gaze of the two, it turned into a drop of pus. Lin Ziasu slowly lifted his gaze. Yixiang, if someone is infected with this goo, is there a way to save them? Saving is the true core. Yixiang said, if it's just an ordinary goo worm, little Wu is their natural nemesis. With a single breath, he can draw out any goo. However, sensing little Wu's aura might also activate this goo. Then, is there any other way? Lin Ziasu frowned slightly. Dad left a prescription, claiming it could make the life soul goo lose its ability to vibrate, but I haven't tried it, nor prepared the ingredients. How about we go to Conch Valley tomorrow to try it? Conch Valley. When she said these three words, Yixiang's face blushed nearly as bright as the sunset. Lin Ziyasu's heart also fluttered slightly. Time for dinner, 3 words came from the door. Yixiang leapt to her feet. There was already some distance between her and Lin Ziyasu, but it was probably talking about Conch Valley that made her very sensitive, and her mother's casual words startled her. The food was ordinary food. Simple home-cooked dishes. Definitely not lavish, but richer than what the mother and daughter usually ate. At least there was fish and meat. Moreover, the fish was brought by Lin Ziyasu. The meat was also brought by him. Yixiang held her rice bowl, counted the grains, her heart filled with nervousness and shyness. Her mother didn't throw out the fish and meat he brought but cooked them, which was a good sign. But mother, your constant neutral expression makes your daughter a bit uneasy. After eating, Yixiang cleared the table and washed the dishes, cleaned the kitchen. Her mother sat by the stove, saying nothing, her face maintaining that neutral expression. This stove was neither new nor old, yet in the 1,000-year-old Miao village, it was a novelty. In the past, the Miao village would start fires directly on the ground, smoke billowing. Now there's a new-style stove. Made of iron, the stove and chimney vented outside. Firewood burned inside with warmth naturally spreading, a winter essential in rural areas. Though it was spring, the mountain nights were still cold, and the Miao family stove continued to burn. Yixiang finished cleaning the kitchen, prepared a guest room for Lin Ziyasu, and tidied her complicated feelings. When everything was settled, she sat by the stove. She braced herself as if ready for her mother's interrogation. However, her mother sat by the stove as if drowsy. Lin Ziyasu's hand reached over, holding Yixiang's hand. Yixiang was a bit nervous, sneaking a glance at her mother who seemed asleep. Besides, separated by the stove, it wasn't a rejection of a suitor, so she left her hand in his. Playing with the hand escalated, eventually hugging her waist under her clothes. Yixiang's whole body heated up, nervously checking on her mother but her body softening, leaning towards him. Until the little rascal tried advancing further, either up or down, Yixiang clamped his hand with her arm, signaling with her eyes for him to stop moving. Warmed by the stove, an elusive sentiment quietly spread. Though not entirely captivating, the long separation passion and affection seeped into every pore of Yixiang's body. This little brother truly was irresistible. How did just his touch make her unable to get up? Time quietly passed like this. Night slowly deepened. Finally, Yixiang spoke softly, "Brother, you should rest now." "All right." After tending to his toiletry, Yixiang sent him to the guest room. Once Lin Ziyasu was in bed, Yixiang gently tucked his blanket. Is the quilt too thin? In the quiet room, perhaps her breath was too alluring. Lin Ziyasu embraced her, gently pulling her hair over his face. Yixiang panicked, her lips lightly touched his, not too hard or too soft, giving a small bite, a tangible warning to stop moving. Mother is still outside. However, this bite made separation a bit difficult. A minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Yixiang forcibly pulled herself away, reached the door, smoothed her messy hair, felt her cheeks and stepped out, softly closing the door behind her. Outside by the stove, her mother was gone. Her mother was asleep. That night, Yixiang in the bamboo house didn't fall asleep for a long time. Lin Ziyasu in the guest room didn't fall asleep for a long time. No one could know if her mother in her room fell asleep. Next morning, Yixiang came downstairs, and her mother had already prepared breakfast. Carried her bamboo basket on her back. "Mother, you're going out." "Yes, I'm going to East Mountain Gully to collect some herbs." Her mother opened the courtyard door and went out. Her face was still neutral. Yixiang walked into the guest room. Lin Ziyasu lay in bed, eyes open, extending a hand. "Hug me, darling." Yixiang glared at him. "Brother, you're a scoundrel. My heart's about to give out." Heart trouble isn't a small issue. Here, let me give you a massage." With that massage, Yixiang turned to Noodles. She very much wanted to tell brother that it's already daylight, but her mouth was sealed by brother. She wanted to escape the room, but months of longing turned into bonds pulling her to brother's side. Finally, the morning breeze brought a dizzying scent. The ancient Miao village hummed with a stirring melody. An hour later, Yixiang opened her eyes, her gaze unfocused. "It's broad daylight, you're too naughty. I'm primarily looking out for you. If we don't play now, we'll have to go to Conch Valley. Imagine carrying that heavy quilt to Conch Valley. What would Meow Village people think? Yixiang was dumbfounded, so pressing me early in the morning is for my own good. The two of them cuddled and chatted, enacting the beauty of youth intimately, completely ignoring one thing. A thing that anyone would naturally ignore. Outside the rundown house in the grass, a goo worm quietly watched them through the window. Her mother indeed went to West Mountain Gully, but left behind was her lifebond goo. The most legendary aspect of Meow People's goo technique is that, as the goo sees, the person sees. Chapter 357, Chapter 357, Casting a Spell on the Prospective Son-in-Law. The two played until after 9 before getting out of bed. After breakfast, their main task was to go to Conch Valley to pick herbs and create the antidote for the life soul goo. The mountain path in the morning still had dewdrops. Wildflowers bloomed in the morning mountain. The morning fog had not dissipated yet, and Little Hoo leaped like an elf in the fog. Whenever they entered Conch Valley, Little Hoo was always exceptionally enthusiastic, hopping excitedly ahead of them and running swiftly. As noon approached, they officially entered Conch Valley. At this time, the fog had finally completely dispersed, revealing Conch Valley's most beautiful aspect of the year. In the river valley, peacocks took flight. Wildflowers circled around the river valley, one ring after another. Red, yellow, white, purple. The ancient acacia tree was also in bloom, its flowers swaying down, covering the ground with crimson. Lin Ziasu finally witnessed Yixiang's complete herb-picking process. Yixiang seemed to have a natural intuition for herbs, always able to find the direction they originated from. Once she discovered them, it was time for Little Hoo to shine. This little guy traversed through bushes and maneuvered cliffs as if they were flat ground, using its sharp claws to sever herbal roots, or directly carrying various herbs with its mouth back to Yixiang's side. Yixiang put the herbs into her basket, patting its little head as a reward. Little Hoo seemed delighted, its joy always so simple. Lin Ziasu also got involved. He didn't recognize the herbs, but once Yixiang found them, he learned to identify them. Yixiang's process of finding herbs seemed mystical, and his process of locating them was even more mysterious. His heavenly Tao primordial spirit roamed freely in Conch Valley, and wherever Yixiang found herbs, he could quickly gather a bunch. Even Yixiang was surprised. Little Hoo, look, brother is so capable, don't show your backside to brother again. Little Hoo grinned, completely unsure what expression to display. For a while Conch Valley was lively, with the two and a beast roaming the valley. Occasionally the two would cuddle and kiss, and whenever they showed affection, Little Hoo would turn its backside towards them. Then Yixiang would pick up Little Hoo and coax it, and Little Hoo would become happy again, running excitedly. After noon, the medicine basket was full. Lunch was skipped, and the two made do with the packed dry rations, while Little Hoo gnawed on them, enjoying the taste without any complaints, seemingly forgetting it was a carnivore. Following that was the experimentation process. Yixiang combined 7 herbs in proportion, took out a small medicinal cauldron and started a fire. Soon, a peculiar aroma permeated the air. Yixiang was a bit nervous. Brother, try it. Lin Ziasu took out a pill, opened it to reveal the life soul goo inside. The life soul goo was placed in a glass bottle. It was not specifically exposed to the steam above, but simply exposed to the air. The life soul goo remained motionless. Then Lin Ziasu took out a bottle acquired from the remnants of Great Sun Ziyu, adding to the air another familiar scent, the aroma of mandala flowers that activated the life soul goo. In Yixiang's old house the bottle was sealed. However, due to a slight leak, when the life soul goo encountered this smell, it would activate. But today, it did not activate and remained dormant. It succeeded. Yixiang was so happy, she jumped up and flung herself into Lin Ziasu's arms. Lin Ziasu held her. Is it secure? Relax, no worries, Yixiang said. This is merely the aroma of fresh herbs boiled. There's some loss of potency. If these herbs are sun-dried, ground into powder and mixed with volatile agents, the efficacy can be increased threefold. Since the antidote was confirmed effective. Now it was a matter of quantity. In the afternoon, their steps roamed the mountains of Conch Valley, quickly gathering quantities of the 7 herbs. At sunset, the two each carried a large bundle of herbs back to the Meow Village. When stepping into the courtyard, the lights inside were already on. The aroma from the kitchen had already wafted out. Yixiang was so impressed with her own brother. If he hadn't taken the time in the morning to handle the situation with her, after months of suppressed feelings, anyone would be overwhelmed. She might actually carry a peacock to Conch Valley. Walking through the 1,000-year-old Miao village in broad daylight would certainly draw attention. Even if she managed it, returning would still be difficult. Mother would be home. How would she explain carrying a quilt? Luckily, brother was smart. What needed handling was done in the morning, entering the mountains lightly and returning heavily loaded. Both difficult situations were resolved. She could face Mother calmly. Mother emerged from the kitchen, and her face showed an extremely rare smile. I caught some little river shrimp, tonight offering it with wine for little Sue. Yixiang's heartbeat quickened. This was the first smile she saw on Mother's face since Lin Ziaosu entered the house. She even specially caught some little river shrimp for him with wine. Today's dishes were completed by the mother-daughter duo. In the kitchen, Mother's smile kept blossoming. The atmosphere began truly harmonious, until Mother personally poured him a cup of wine. This wine was grape wine brought by Lin Ziaosu. The color of the wine in the cup was extremely beautiful, and the purity was quite evident. However, when the wine reached his mouth, Lin Ziaosu suddenly felt a slight jump in his heart. Goo? There was goo in the wine. At this moment, Yixiang was so joyful, as Mother finally accepted him, earnestly made dinner for him, and even smiled at him. This was the first time Mother truly laughed since Yixiang's father passed away. Indeed, it felt like the family happiness of a mother-in-law dining with her daughter and son-in-law. Spring night flowers bloomed outside the window. The warmth of spring dispersed through the stove fire. Lin Ziaosu savored the uniquely flavored wine, experiencing some inner conflict. However, just as he was conflicted, something extraordinary happened. He suddenly felt the goo worm in the wine in his mouth perishing in a strange way. The rejuvenation secret technique, with its incredible detoxifying power and miraculous healing properties, but Lin Ziaosu never believed he could be immune to the goo worm. Why? Because the goo worm is a living thing. The fundamental path of the rejuvenation secret technique is to strengthen life force. So in theory, the goo worm entering his body wouldn't die, but rather grow faster. However, as the wine tangled in his mouth, the theory was shattered. The goo worm perished, not in the usual sense, but assimilated by his rejuvenation true qi. The goo worm disintegrated, transforming into pure life force. This is too incredible. Lin Ziaosu swallowed the wine in his mouth, and as it went down to his stomach, he was fully focused without feeling any anomaly. He picked up the cup on the table and drank its contents in one gulp. This time he felt it more clearly. As the wine went down his throat, the goo worm was still there. But when the goo worm traveled down his esophagus, the speed of his blood tower's rotation increased slightly, wisps of true qi spread throughout his body, and the goo worm disintegrated almost simultaneously. A few traces of warmth appeared on his blood tower. The second drop of heavenly star tears was about to form. Damn! What the hell is this? The incredibly vicious goo worm could actually be directly assimilated by him. It even enhanced his cultivation. The rejuvenation secret technique, the life law, this is overwhelmingly powerful. Mother's smile blossomed completely, because she clearly saw her son-in-law drank her goo. As the wife of the former witch god, born and raised in the goo technique, a widow pained by the love path, she's most sensitive to matters of the heart. Because her eldest daughter was killed by love from a hand person. Because her husband, the once great witch god, was trapped in long-term guilt due to his daughter's death and was also harmed by another hand person. She hated the hand people. She hated the hand people even more for using love as a pretext to approach her only remaining daughter. However, the thing she hated the most happened completely beyond her control. While she was placed in a tree hollow, in a state of neither life nor death, Lin Ziaosu arrived at the Miao village and came to her daughter's side. Lin Ziaosu saved her own life, but also won her daughter's heart. On one hand, he was a life-saving benefactor. On the other, he was involved in what she hated the most. She was very conflicted. She was in much pain. If Lin Ziaosu had just left for good, perhaps she would have slowly let go. But he came back. And this morning, she clearly knew that her daughter was already his. Knowing this, all the conflict ceased, and the daughter had already been harmed by him, leaving only one path to make this man stay. Make him unable to leave Yixiang. Make sure Sister Yixiang's tragedy does not reoccur with Yixiang. Yixiang, stubborn and naive, always resisted the tradition of using the love poison to lock a man's heart. Expecting her to do anything was futile. Only she, the mother, could put some thought into it. So on the night when they returned from Conch Valley, she smiled, created harmony, and then offered the wine with goo. When Lin Ziasu held the wine with goo in his mouth, Mother's heart seemed to stop beating. She suddenly felt a fear. She was worried that her supposedly clever son-in-law would see through it. If he spit out the wine, the warm and harmonious night would come to a halt. However, her worries did not materialize. Lin Ziasu swallowed the wine and even picked up the cup on the table, drinking it clean. Great, he didn't notice. Mother completely relaxed. Having taken her daughter's body, he also drank the love poison. He was truly her son-in-law now. Mother put all her worries aside, and as she reevaluated this son-in-law, she actually experienced the mundane joy of the world, much like a mother-in-law who becomes increasingly fond of her son-in-law with each passing glance. The ensuing time was incredibly harmonious. At night, the three of them, well, for the time being a family of three, sat chatting by the fire. Mother was very relaxed and fond of laughing, seemingly gradually emerging from her long-lasting gloom. Lin Ziasu, with high emotional intelligence and eloquence, managed to engage comfortably with her. During the day, Mother went out early to pick pine mushrooms in the surrounding mountains, gather wild vegetables, and catch river fish, seemingly intent on letting her son-in-law fully experience all the traditional Miao family dishes passed down for 1,000 years. Of course, it might just be an elderly person's alternative intentions. No matter whether she had such thoughts or not, the young couple fully embraced this essence together. Once Mother went out, Yixiang would sneak into the guest room, and once she was embraced by Lin Ziasu, she would completely collapse, being bullied by him over and over again in the blanket. The remaining time was spent drying herbs and organizing them. 7 kinds of herbs, dried and ground into powder, weighed only 3 pounds. Although it was only 3 pounds, it was enough. The time for him to leave was getting closer and closer. The knots in Yixiang's heart were tightening more and more. This time, his visit to the Miao village was for an important mission. He had to leave, and she also had to go with him. But would Mother agree? Chapter 358. Chapter 358. Sufficient to shake the national situation. Daily recovery. 6,000. Over the past 4 days, Mother has become more agreeable, but going out with a hand-man clearly goes beyond mere conversation. If I bring it up and Mother flips out with her big stick on the spot, what do I do then? However difficult it might be, what needs to be said must be said. April 10th. The 5th night since Lin Ziasu entered the Miao village. The fire was blazing, and there was a broad smile on Mother's face. Yixiang spoke up, "Mother, little Sue is leaving tomorrow." Mother's smile remained. "Is it something very important?" "Yes, very important, involving many people's lives," Yixiang said. Mother nodded, "Then go. Do come over whenever you have time in the future." "Sure," Lin Ziasu replied with a smile. "Auntie's small river shrimps are especially delicious. I'll definitely come often in the future to eat." Mother's face beamed with joy. Yixiang said, "Mother, I also have to go with him this time. The matter mainly concerns detoxification." All right." Yixiang was dumbfounded at Mother's simple nod. That night, Yixiang stayed awake for most of the night. Early the next morning, they got up. Mother unusually didn't go out and prepared them a hearty breakfast in the kitchen. Then, watching them ride Yixiang's small motorcycle onto the mountain road. Little Hu jumped onto the courtyard wall, sitting on it like a dog, with an exasperated look as he watched his little companions. Yes, little Hu didn't go with them. But little Wu did. Little Wu, the small white turtle, was in Yixiang's backpack. For one simple reason, each specialized in different skills. Little Hu's skills were fighting, protection, and herb gathering, while Little Wu's skills were detoxification. Their mission this time was not to fight, but to detoxify. And Little Hu's role was to stay home and protect Mother. The little motorcycle drove on. Ahead was Wangfu Cliff. No one knew how many Wangfu Cliffs there are in all of Daxia. Most were endowed with some old-fashioned myth or legend. But the Wangfu Cliff here seemed to be given a new era legend of the 1,000-year-old Miao village. So many Miao girls were deceived, losing themselves, waiting here for their brothers to return home. Brother, stop for a moment at Wangfu Cliff. Yixiang leaned towards Lin Ziasu's ear and whispered in the morning breeze. The little motorcycle came to a screeching halt. Lin Ziasu smiled. You don't need to wait at Wangfu Cliff today, you need to go out with your brother. Brother, don't you feel something's not right? Yixiang said. What is it? I thought all night last night, couldn't figure out why mother agreed to let me go with you. I really suspect. Suspect what? I suspect mother put a goo on you. Yixiang gritted her teeth, speaking her mind directly. Lin Ziasu was stunned. That's impossible, Auntie seemed so kind-hearted. It's precisely because she's so kind-hearted that I increasingly believe she must have put a goo on you, Yixiang said. Little Wu, do a full body check on brother. With her command, the small white turtle in her backpack leaped out, landing on Lin Ziasu's shoulder. Little Wu was enveloped in a misty white light. Extraordinarily peculiar. It was following its owner's orders, conducting a full body check on Lin Ziasu. Yixiang widened her eyes, focusing intently on this white light. The peculiarity of Little Wu was its ability to overcome all kinds of foreign matter. If Lin Ziasu had been poisoned with a goo, it couldn't escape its detection. Yixiang was almost certain mother must have put a goo on him. Otherwise, mother would never have allowed her to leave with him. Yet from Little Wu's top to bottom, all was purely clean. There was not a trace of goo on him. No goo, Yixiang murmured. Mother actually really didn't put a goo this. Lin Ziasu held her waist, whispering seductively in her ear. Don't you meow people have an ancestral adage. A goo harming people is essentially still humans harming humans. Auntie knows I would never harm you, so there is no need to waste that love poison on me. Yixiang was entranced. A goo harming people is essentially still humans harming humans. 11 words in a sentence. Passed down through the meow's 1,000-year-old tradition. Such painful enlightenment, yet such a high level of condensation. Meow people have been harmed so often, so there's a counteraction with goo technique. A single goo word, how many testimonies of people's painful experiences. Today, she and her brother jumped out of the 1,000-year tradition. She knew her brother was good to her, and mother knew too. The hearts of mother and daughter, it seemed to truly resonate at this moment. She was so relieved, she was so happy. Little Wu returned. Little Wu dived back into her backpack. Yixiang climbed back onto the small motorcycle, riding with the joy of having untied a knot in her heart, down the Wushan Mountain in the morning breeze. Brother, where shall we go? Jiangcheng, the provincial capital of my hometown, Lin Ziasu said. Jiangcheng is so far away, are we taking the high-speed train? Yixiang was very happy, firstly because she rarely went out, secondly because she was going out with her brother, and if there was a third reason, it was that she was going to his hometown. We'll take the flying car. What, a flying car, brother, you even have a flying car? Yixiang was surprised. Although flying cars had been around for a while, they were still as elusive as a mountain to ordinary people. Who in an ordinary family could afford a flying car? Not to mention a flying car could cost millions, even if you had one, who could obtain air travel rights. And brother actually said we'll take the flying car. I don't have a flying car, but for this operation we need one. Lin Ziasu said, look, it's already here. Yixiang looked up and saw the flying car in the sky, so mysterious, so high-end. The flying car landed at the base of the mountain. Lin Ziasu's motorcycle also arrived just in time. He parked the motorcycle in the spot where he and Yixiang had parked during their last trip to Taichung, and led Yixiang straight onto the flying car. On the flying car, there was a woman with light blue hair and a slight smile on her face. Now I understand why you didn't look for Chang Yi and came to me instead. I see. Blue Demon's eyes, with a hint of charm and allure, swept over the pretty Yixiang. She immediately understood the reason Lin Ziasu had asked for her presence. Logically speaking, if Lin Ziasu needed help from Qianlong, the first person he should contact would be Chang Yi. After all, he and Chang Yi were very close. Close enough to share a bed. However, today he skipped Chang Yi and directly contacted her, the Blue Demon. Now the reason was clear. He brought a Meow girl with him. Could the Meow girl meet Chang Yi? Meeting wouldn't end in a fight. Therefore, unscrupulously, he bypassed Chang Yi and sought her out. King Lanshan, don't overthink it, Lin Ziasu said. I didn't look for Chang Yi and instead came to you for only one reason. This matter is too big. With her authority, she might not be able to mobilize Qianlong's resources. All distractions in Blue Demon's mind vanished with that single sentence. She lightly tapped a button, sealing the flying car. "Tell me what's going on." Lin Ziasu and Yixiang sat down, and a steaming cup of tea appeared once the armrests flipped. "Entering mission mode," Lin Ziasu said. "This mission will surpass your imagination, and its severity will make you break out in a cold sweat." Blue Demon's eyes were extremely calm. "I'm prepared. Go on." In the land of Dazia, a new strange goo technique has appeared. We have reason to believe that on every front line, tens of millions have already fallen victim. Blue Demon suddenly broke out in a light sweat. "What kind of goo technique?" Lin Ziasu raised his hand slightly. A cold medicine pill appeared in his hand. Inside it is a type of goo worm called the life soul goo. Once consumed, the goo worm silently enters a person's brain, enters long-term dormancy, and just upon smelling a certain fragrance, the goo worm will destroy the brain, and the person will be gone. Blue Demon's heart raced. "Are you sure countless people have already fallen victim?" "What I'm saying is, there's reason to believe." Certainty and reason to believe. Blue Demon had to admit that the two terms seemed worlds apart yet were largely similar in essence. If this was a tactic by the ultimate opponent, the nine-headed snake, its level of terror could surpass all other missions. The nine-headed snake has constantly focused on infiltration. The chosen targets are not ordinary people. With just one goo pill disguised as a regular drug entering someone's body, their life would be at the mercy of the poisoner. This method of poisoning is almost impossible to guard against, 1,000 times simpler than implanting a chip in the brain. Everyone has a chance of falling victim. One with intentional scheming, another with unconscious acceptance. Anyone could be taken advantage of. And with the goo worm able to remain dormant for a long time, such terrifying creatures combined with time accumulation. What could the outcome be? Even a generation of Qianlong kings shivered involuntarily. "This is terrifying," Blue Demon said. "Little Sue, maybe I need to take this pill back to headquarters immediately and trigger the highest alert." Initially, she thought that Lin Ziasu skipping Changyi and coming to her was making a mountain out of a molehill. After all, she was a king, not an errand runner. Yet Lin Ziasu's few simple words turned Blue Demon's entire understanding upside down. If what he said was true, then Lin Ziasu coming to her was not at all exaggerating. Indeed, her rank was still too low. For the matter was significant, unimaginably significant. It could even overturn the entire structure of Dazia. "Go back to headquarters, trigger the highest alert, then what?" Lin Ziasu asked. "Hold meetings to discuss, formulate countermeasures, wait for the enemy to take out key nodes and individuals before launching a protracted war of attrition against you." Blue Demon lightly nodded. "I understand your point. This matter, even if presented on Chief Long's desk, would only add weight to the event itself without aiding its resolution. Do you have a solution?" "Somewhat. Somewhat and some more." Blue Demon's eyes brightened slightly. "Let's hear it." "The first critical point. We need to have bargaining chips to contend for life determination rights with the enemy. The sons of Dazia, elite across all fronts, cannot be allowed to lose their lives at the enemy's whim." "Well said," Blue Demon responded. "So do you have such bargaining chips?" Lin Ziasu said, "That's the real reason I entered Myojiang. With Yixiang's help, we've developed a drug capable of suppressing goo worms. Under the influence of this drug, even if victimized by the goo technique, we can forcibly pull them back from the ghost gate." Blue Demon trembled all over, and her beautiful eyes finally fixed directly on Yixiang's face. She slowly stood up and bowed deeply to Yixiang. "Yixiang, I must thank you." Chapter 359. Chapter 359, Breaking Demon Sound. Yixiang was taken aback and quickly got up. I was just helping brother with a little something. I didn't know it was so important." "Your small step is the key for millions in Daxia country to break free from a deadlock on hundreds of fronts. Sit down." Blue Demon gently held Yixiang's hand and pulled her to sit beside him. "There's another key point," Lin Ziasu said. "We need a breakthrough." "Have you found a breakthrough?" Blue Demon asked. "The opening we have found may not be the breakthrough," Lin Ziasu said. "But whether it is or isn't, we have to act. Because if we don't, the lives of 100 research scientists are in imminent danger." "Which research institute's personnel?" "Changsheng Group's research line." Blue Demon was suddenly startled. Changsheng Group's research line. If it had been before, she might not have reacted so sensitively, but now it's different. Because since the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission acquired a 51% stake, the nature of Changsheng Group has changed. It's a state enterprise. Blue Demon knew about the Changsheng Group's research team, while others might not. Changsheng Group took over the research on the purple magic stone, took over the bioengineering research. In the field of communications, in biological control technology, it represents the cutting edge of Daxia country. Changsheng Group supports with the full power of the company. The state supports the full effort. If we break from the inside, if these researchers all become puppets of the nine-headed snake, the consequences are unimaginable. How do you know that people from Changsheng Group's research line are compromised? Because Ding Lijiang's wife inadvertently mentioned a sentence. Lin Ziasu said. She said that the SA virus was rampant in Yangcheng, and that the vast majority of scientists from the first two Changsheng groups who went to observe at Kixing Group were compromised. Yixiang's beautiful big eyes blinked, a little bewildered. The SA virus, she knew about it. Yangcheng is the most easily infected, that she also knew. But this doesn't seem like a big deal. It's not surprising. Why is brother's expression so serious? Blue Demon holding the pill. This happens to be a cold medicine specifically for the SA virus. Yes. So you suspect that their trip to observe at Kixing Group and getting infected with the SA virus is part of a plot. The real reason is to use this opportunity to legitimately give them this cold medicine. Yes. There's such a possibility, but this logical chain isn't very rigorous. Whether rigorous or not, it needs to be verified, Lin Ziasu said. If we guess right, we will find a rare breakthrough. If wrong, it's a safety drill. Over 100 scientific elites, their lives can't be taken lightly. Blue Demon slightly nodded. Go to Jiangcheng. The flying car broke through the sky, heading directly to Jiangcheng. Lin Ziasu closed his eyes. Blue Demon felt that this chain of reasoning wasn't rigorous enough, and he also felt it wasn't rigorous enough. But his sixth sense told him that his judgment was reasonable. Why? Because there was something Blue Demon didn't know about. Lin Ziasu had personally experienced the entire process of embedding a poisonous insect technique through the SA virus. A lunch at the hotel, seemingly ordinary, Lei Zioya was friendly throughout. Ding Ryushui suddenly sneezed. It caught Lei Zioya's attention and also triggered her sensitivity. Then brought out the cold medicine. And the next day, two remnants from De Rai Zioao Temple appeared, deliberately using the effect of the pill. He had reason to suspect Lei Zioya. He even had reason to suspect Ding Ryushui's sneeze. Sneezing could mean a cold, but it might not necessarily be a real cold. There are too many smells in the world that can make people sneeze. If even something as trivial as a sneeze was part of a meticulous plan, how could they miss a golden opportunity like having hundreds of scientists enter Kixing Group? Preventing commercial infiltration, many people are used to double-locking their own line's entrance, using people with absolute trust in absolutely confidential fields, and rejecting anyone with even a blemish in their identity. He had asked Ding Lijiang many times if there were any loopholes in the Changsheng Group's research line lock. Ding Lijiang always was optimistic, because people entering this line were double-checked by both Ding Lijiang and the State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission. But what if a breakthrough was targeted at this group of people later? You lock the room door tightly, but inside the house, if they manage to infiltrate your person, how do you defend against that? Furthermore, this kind of exchange between Changsheng Group and Kixing Group seems strange in the market. The two groups are in-laws. The male side is Changsheng Group, the female side is Kixing Group. If you compare the groups to a family, Kixing Group appears overly generous, and Changsheng Group appears overly stingy. Why? It's still based on information from the Ding family. Lin Ziasu learned from Ding Lijiang. Kixing Group opened its core resources to the Changsheng Group research team. But Changsheng Group did not open their core resources to Kixing Group. This isn't an equivalent business action. Kixing Group wouldn't be this stupid. They could only be this stupid for one reason. They have ulterior motives. Motives for what? To turn all those who come to observe into their own people. Changsheng Group wants Kixing Group's resources. Kixing Group opens the doors for you, but secretly infiltrates your people. This is what fits the business routine. But is it really like this? It needs to be verified. Verifying this isn't easy. The biggest difficulty is not to alert the enemy. If there is a perfume holder hiding within the Changsheng group, once they know they're being targeted by Qianlong, they might take desperate measures and with just one bottle of perfume could easily wipe out the entire Changsheng group research team. That loss would be too great. Furthermore, Lin Ziasu was almost certain that the Changsheng group must have such a perfume holder. Need leverage. Whose leverage? The flying car had already reached Zhengcheng. Thousands of miles, 2 hours to arrive. This was an unprecedented high-speed cruise for the flying car. Zhangcheng Criminal Investigation Team, Captain's Office. Shen Yinchuan's face was very somber, and in just a few days, his beard grew noticeably fast. Beard's probably the best indicator of mood. The more repressed the mood, the faster the beard grows. He was feeling very repressed, driven nearly insane by the sound assassination. The sound assassination somehow made its way into the public, causing an uproar like a tidal wave. People have a kind of inertia in their thinking. Matters far away don't garner much attention, but those close by naturally do. A phone call could take a life. How are those who can't leave their phones supposed to feel? Even a misguided trend was giving Shen Yinchuan a headache. Some said the root of the sound assassination was Mayor He Gaisheng. The reason provided was ready-made, the death of Lu Qianjin. Lu Qianjin was someone Mayor He Gaisheng wanted to eliminate, and the companies related to Lu Qianjin received heavy attention from Mayor He. Proof enough. Lu Qianjin was driven to despair, jumping into the river to end his life. He narrowly escaped death, but ultimately was killed by He Gaisheng's sound assassination. From this, one could see how amazing the mayor's abilities were. For a while, Mayor He became a taboo in official circles and even among the public. Shen Yinchuan, having been promoted by Mayor He, also got implicated, with people saying behind his back that he, as the criminal investigation team captain, was the devil's accomplice. Who in this murky water can come out clean? At this moment the phone vibrated. Shen Yinchuan's heart suddenly tightened. A habitual reaction developed after the sound assassination incident. Any incoming call felt abnormal. However, the information displayed on the phone instantly set Shen Yinchuan's mind at ease. Ziasu. Lin Ziasu's voice came through. Are you in the office? Yes. I'll come see you. Okay. 10 minutes later, there was a knock on the office door. Shen Yinchuan opened the door, his eyes slightly brightened. Lin Ziasu swaggered in with the stride of a dandy, accompanied by two beauties, both of extraordinary allure. For a moment, Shen Yinchuan felt some resentment. As a criminal investigation team captain in distress, his beard couldn't even stay on his face, while Lin Ziasu appeared in his panderous nature, escorting two bewitching ladies casually. What justice was this? Suddenly, the beauty on the left's face began to change slowly. It was a bizarre transformation. At this moment, the door closed. Shen Yinchuan's eyes widened more and more. He had seen this beauty before. Although only once, the impression was unmatched. The time he saw her was during the Changsheng group encirclement fight. This beauty stepped onto the Changsheng training ground, moving like a ghost in lightning, a rhythm not belonging to this world. Afterward, he learned a shocking fact. This beauty was the Blue Demon King. Qianlong King. As a provincial-level criminal investigation team captain, an average Qianlong gold medal was a leader. What was a Qianlong King? It was a level he could never come into contact with. Blue leader, Shen Yinchuan saluted. The blue demon lightly tapped. Sit down and listen to Ziasu analyze the case. Yes, Shen Yinchuan sat upright without pouring tea, not because he didn't understand etiquette but because he understood too well. The leader told him to sit, not to pour tea. Lin Ziasu didn't mind, gently pulling Yixiang, who sat on the sofa with just half a cheek. Shen Yinchuan was nervous, and so was she. Because she knew Shen Yinchuan was the criminal investigation team captain of this vice-provincial level metropolis. Such a person she could only see on television at most. Today, she was actually face-to-face with him. Lin Ziasu said, Chief Shen, you've probably been overwhelmed by the sound assassination recently, right? In one sentence, Shen Yinchuan was like injected with adrenaline. You found out something. The sound assassination is actually just a scam. Shen Yinchuan's eyes suddenly widened. Even the blue demon was dumbfounded. She also knew about the sound assassination. She knew this because she was on good terms with the Miao Yin Heavenly King. The sound assassination was Miao Yin Heavenly King's field. Miao Yin Heavenly King analyzed nearly all types of subsonic waves, excluding all existing possibilities, stuck in the bizarre loop of the sound assassination for a long time. So she paid attention to it. And today, Lin Ziaosu came to Jiangcheng, found the criminal investigation team captain, and the first thing he talked about wasn't their major task, but this mysterious case. Moreover, he directly concluded, the sound assassination is just a scam. A scam. The real method of killing is not subsonics, but poisonous insect technique, Lin Ziaosu said. At least Lu Qianjin died due to the poisonous insect technique, having nothing to do with subsonic killing. You found evidence, Shen Yinchuan's heart raced. Not only did we find evidence, but I can also show you firsthand what the so-called subsonic that scrambled Lu Qianjin's brain looks like. The premise is, you have to cooperate with us to arrange a venue.